And that is our firm favorite and first introduction in towards what is going to be an absolute, just a blast, just a joy to throw the name in. I'm so excited. As you sort of put it up before as well, you know, FEARX, they're that little Korean team that always usually can and could. They've had some ups, had some downs. They are what I think is fair to describe the closest towards a Korean super team from the region. We've always dreamed of one for a long time. You had, obviously, FEARX, and you had a lot of players on the old Damwon Kia, D+ Kia roster, and you would sort of want to put them together. Yeah. And now we've got that. And we want to see what they can do, I think, is the fairest point, Demo.
Yeah, I also have to make note this is Group A. This is M80's group.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Again, I think it's always going to be difficult for a lot of these sides coming up against M80 because we know how good that team is. But whenever you really match the other four, apart from M80 up against each other, we get some really close matchups. And I think this is going to be one of them. Just to give everyone a bit of a rundown on Heretics, if you're not familiar of who this side is. This is one of our Tier 2 teams that we have brought in from Europe. Yep. And there has been a little bit of an org switch up. They were formerly known as Project Zero. They played under that name whenever they qualified in the LCQs. And then Heretics came along and said, hey, you guys want an org? And they were more than happy to oblige. There's players I'm sure that people will recognize. Grubby being the main one, you would have remembered him from his time during Team Secret and also a stint at Fnatic. Grubby has played at 2 Six Invitationals, don't forget.
He has. How many maps has he won? Well, maps, I can tell you, but I know games.
One map, hasn't he?
One map, no games. The 2 times that Grubby has been on the stages at SI with Secret has not been able to win a series.
And we'll get to Savage and Co later on because they still have to win their game later on.
See how, you know, that roster's had some other moments, but it all starts here. The Battle of Clubhouse. Where else would we start our competition? The place that every single team should know. We've got the breach on CC. We're getting the opening underneath. They're trying to dig their way in towards the clear on the far side. But when you're looking at the operators that we've got, obviously Echo was sort of touched upon with the changes. You've got Rin on Skopos, Mephi hunting.
And the thing is with the Echo, it was always an operator that FEARX would play anyway. So it's actually helped their just lineup even more so because they would have brought the Echo nonetheless. Now, Clubhouse, like you mentioned, great equalizer map. Really, any team can play this. But I will say I think Heretics have the slight edge. They played it a few times during their LCQ run, whereas for FEARX, it's not really that high preference, but still a map that I know that they will go to if they need to. And well, they kick things off with a Clubhouse. Straight away, I'm seeing a strip club roam from Rin on the Skopos. Now, you will see this is very common, but this is really the only value we see from the Skopos.
So they've got the Thatcher, they're getting the roll. There's about to be a fight with the sledge, but loses it, and it's the point of Rin, right? Rin on their game, unbeatable. Rin off their game, beatable. Often doing these solo YOLO hero plays on the far side of the site, and well, now it just leaves them in the 5 versus 4. So not the best way for them to start, but have they wasted enough time?
I think with 1 minute and 10 and they're now opening up the hatches, I still think there's more than enough here for Heretics to really get it over the line. And the important thing is, Emmy, they haven't lost any of their util. The Grim is still alive, and we know how strong that operator is in the current meta. Whenever the only counter is really a Vigil, that's not going to be brought into the table. You're going to see the value from it.
Here goes the soft destruction, though. Sledge trying to get that opening down the corridor, get all the angles on towards the bottom of main, and now they cannot get the rotation. Had only really got 2 hammer hits done, Demo.
Now, one thing I'm going to note about the lineup from FEARX, they're playing into those Echoes. What is still alive on the side of Heretics? Grubby with the Thatcher. He can disable the Yokai drones. You can see them like the way IQ does.
30 seconds left, and we're about to get our first execute here. Drop down on towards Moto, waiting for the quick swing. But he's dropped and locked down as a body is dropped elsewhere. He's going deep, but unfortunately drowning. We find ourselves balanced out 2 apiece to solo. Woogieman is all by himself in the 1 versus 2. He knows where 1 is, but he misses the cross. There's the first fight. Going for the plot. Will he stick? He's trying to bait the momentum. He gets the rotate. No, he doesn't have the full hole open. He knows he's entirely stuck in that corner. He's drifted his way either side. Up and down we go! And Woogieman, with all the clutches to his name, adds 1 more to the tally.
He doesn't even need the Yokai to stop the plan. Just kill the guy.
Just kill him.
Oh, well, I mean, a 1v2 that was not looking favorable for me. He wasn't on a lot of HP. Obviously, he didn't have the information. Guy swinging in the blue, though, coming in for the rotate. That's where you start isolating the 1v1s. You know, I get the idea where there's 10 seconds. Maybe it gets a little bit panicky.
Yep.
On the side of Heretics, and he thinks, oh, well, I need to go and make sure this guy doesn't die. But then he isolates the 1v1 against the Echo, and he doesn't win that. I think this was also a very important kill. I mean, Coed has to at least be good for one, which he was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think as well, it's that sort of element of, let's be real, FEARX. They're quite often in this situation. They're better on their defense, but a lot of their defenses, I mean, Boogeyman is the perfect example. In both Stage 1 and Stage 2, was the highest rated 1vx player, both times. He is so consistently in this situation, he's trained for it.
He's a consistent player, and those are my favorite caliber of players. You know, that's the profile I always hone in on. I mean, really since, you know, we first seen this, half the team, I suppose, way back at the Sweden Major. That was really the first time we've seen this team make a dent in the esports, and I think he's been so consistent since.
Well, that was our first round. Where else can we go but up, Demo? We find ourselves circling and spiraling up towards Gym Bedroom. We'll probably have this extension. You've got a clash on the board. You've got time wasting. Melusa to try and play against the swing, and then obviously Tubarao. It's things to make this approach slower. The fact that we're obviously operating here against the buffed Thatcher, which is instantly going to get this wall open. Oscar's going to go for the clear up top. The Monty should be able to keep a decent pace, depending on where they want to operate them in towards, but it's how they can isolate this clash with this combination is what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think obviously with the clash, you will need to try and keep some EMPs here, Grubby, because you need to try and disable that shield if you want the Monty to have any form of value. Look, there's not a whole lot to deal with that clash outside the Thatcher, so in terms of what they do have, though, you've still got the Grim. You've still got that power just to completely clear out bathroom, gym, bedroom, make it so the site is just uninhabitable, so there's still options here, but right now it's just the general gist of what we see in Clubhouse.
So in the meantime, of all the attention being paid elsewhere, they've tried to use the Selmas to get Jacuzzi open partially, and then they've tried to put pressure onto the bathroom behind it as well, but nothing else has come of it. The Deimos is going to try and apply some track and some pressure from underneath. Obviously, we can see the Grim is whirring and working away, but this could just be an attempt at a bit of a backstab here. Woogieman, how locked in is he towards the approach? Should have Banshees, but it's where the engagement will come.
I like this. They know that the clash is set up inside a Logi. That floor can be shot from below, so get the Deimos in, and there we go. Starting to clear away that clash, force them out off office, and just that little bit of pressure coming in from Woogie. He hears the Deimos blow. I'm going to go on an off angle. I mean, that is an off angle position. It's just in the middle of a staircase.
Middle of a staircase. Watched, waited, baited. Great communication, coordination. And the collaboration there. Another second drop. Mephi swings the door, gets all that locked into construction. Gribby does find one back, but with 50 seconds, they have time to try and reform an approach or just win it out. There's the man of the moment, and the roster with all eyes on just hops in. There's that shield I talked about. Clearing across. Woogieman gets one. Groovy goes for his third for the round, but he's almost going to have to do it all himself here, as now he's left alone. Mephi and Good Boy, you've got a clash still on the board. It's a nightmare situation. They can play together. He's got himself here, but 30 seconds. The time is going to feel heavy with every single tick. They're just sort of making the statement, right? We've got the clash here. Our man's behind the clash, watching the other side. Either route is covered. 15 seconds. Groovy, he's going to be hoping for a miracle here for the second round of Paris to pull this one together, but look at the distance. Yeah. They know the game, they know the rehearsal, and this play has been seen many times before. Mephi has the last.
Yeah, very easy for FEARX, no doubt about it. I mean, just play the time, you have the clash. Unwinnable, of course it is. Yeah, for Heretics, I think relying heavily on that Deimos being able to walk up the main stairs. I think that was obviously the intention, was have him go in towards kitchen, clear away anyone who could be inside of Logi. That opens up that portion of the map. And then have him rotate up main stairs and try and hit that backstab. You lose the Deimos. That means you don't have the backstab pressure. And it's then so easy, I think, for a clash just to look one way.
Yes.
He knows all the pressure is going to come in through the windows, in through construction. Nothing's ever going to hit him from Logi or main stairs. And that was the issue there for Heretics, was they lost their backstab potential.
An opening 2 rounds here. for FEARX. And, you know, you're sort of looking, you said that you believed this was going to be a 3-mapper.
Yeah.
If this goes to FEARX, do you still believe the same thing?
No.
Okay.
And the reason why, just again, we'll touch on the maps again. This map should be a Heretics win. You know, it's a map that they like to play, it's a map that they've played, they've won on it before. FEARX, I mentioned, in terms of preference, not too high. The issue with Heretics coming into this event was what they showed us at LCQs is they don't play free maps, and that is Lair, Fortress, and Bank. They only get 2 bans, so they were always going to have to play a map that they didn't like. And well, the second map, it is Bank, it is one of those 3. So you start then to worry, if they can't win their own map, how are they win the map that we know they're not good on?
The one thing I will sort of say, well, I'm going to say 2 things because, well, we talked for an hour. I'm allowed. The first is that FEARX are much better on their defense, generically. I'm not saying they're brilliant on their defense. They're unfortunately a lot worse than their attack. When they played this against CAG was the last time we've sort of got on record for a club. It's a 25% win rate. They got 1 round across it. Generically, the stats on most of the other maps aren't that much better. At the same time as well, they've had 2 3Ks across the opening 2 rounds. One of them was a 1vx clutch. I'm not saying they relied on it. They obviously got the first couple of kills last time. FEARX have this system. We talk about it, we highlight it. When we get to their attack, we're going to see slow, we're going to see flaws. That's when Heretics really need to rebuild. But talking of rebuild, we've talked all this time. That's a minute gone. And, well, what have they done, Demo?
Well, I mean, this is the bomb site in towards our cache that you would expect to see the attackers have good success on, yeah? It's a fairly simple bomb site that is, I think, pretty easy to attack. You open up that main breach, that is always step 1. And then really everything will just follow after that. You either can move over towards construction and take in from bedroom, or you can go, which is usually the way teams want to go about it, take rafters. You just dump a whole lot of util in towards rafters. You try and kill the lone defender. He'll be up here. And, well, it's Coded who has drawn that short straw, sadly.
Yep.
And he's just going to have to try and play his life and waste time and get kills if he can.
Oh, lucky to survive that whiff, but
Great
Good
angle.
Boy has the cover from deep. The Tachanka goes brr, and Mephi follows it up with 1 more for Cody. Oh, he's already dead, mate. You can put those ones back. Oh, you poor. Big bite taken out of him, and I think we're going to get a timeout after this round. It's just sort of been pushed away from them here.
I mean, look at the main breach. Like, why is that not, you know, why is that not fully opened?
Hey, there's a Thorn play.
There's a Thorn
Hey,
shotgun.
you know that there was a change with Thorn?
Oh, no.
There was a change with Thorn. We might see more Thorn play. Swinging the shotgun outside of con window. Look at
main breach. How is
main breach is a little bit scuffed.
I understand there is a tub and a Cade, right? I get that.
Yep.
Thatcher is up, and you can bring more than 1 hard breacher. They do know this.
So, Coded's fallen asleep. As I said, it would be a timeout, but they're also having these conversations. Now, this is also an aspect about this FEARX roster. As we go into a timeout, I assume, I mean, I could be wrong. We'll find out. But they didn't used to get in the old chat.
This is the turd effect. This is what he's done to APAC.
The whole ecosystem, he didn't used to. And or the roster didn't used to. And now, they get active. They get in your head. And that's probably going to be something, if anything, could affect Heretics.
Well, I was talking to Ace about this, and we were just talking about the Heretics team, and we kind of made the point. We've seen this team whenever they're winning, and they're on a high, which is obviously the run that they had in LCQs. Have we seen this 5 suffer a loss yet, and see how that affects them?
It's very true.
That's also another element to this team that you have to question. You know, we've seen teams where they can be in a win streak, and then they lose 1 game, and they think the world's ending. Are they going to fit into that same caliber?
Well, we're not having a timeout, and I'm going to raise the question of, I believe there would have been someone behind the team. I thought they...
DMC, he's the coach for Heretics. But maybe they've used that as the timeout. Their little weight on the rooftop.
Maybe.
That's also another way to do it.
However, I think if it goes back to the player cams at some point, is DMC... Yeah, there he is. Okay. I was just checking.
Yep. So
I'm looking through highlights.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
You can do that.
It's 3-0. It's 3-0. They're on their attacks. As I said, you're not you should be expected to win that.
5 seconds
I
left
think
before
we're
insertion.
more expecting competition from Heretics right now. I think as you said, there was mistakes in the breach, mistakes in the positioning,
Yeah.
but how they were being taken apart by FEARX. FEARX are just holding these sort of like...
FEARX are not doing anything crazy, right? How did they start off? A Scopus Roman strip club. We've seen that plenty of times.
Many times.
And then it's just a turtle. Then we've also seen, of course, the rafters kind of suicide hold that players will have.
Yep.
We've seen that before. Their gym, okay, they brought a clash and just rotate the clash around. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
There is, I mean, that's just Clubhouse as a whole. There's nothing new that's going to be shown. And if there is, credit to whatever team invents something new.
If somebody can reinvent Clubhouse, you win Siege.
I think the last person to try and change his strategy was actually our own Pengu, where he opened up the entire of Cash Wall and he just played Clash of Clans. You ever seen that clip?
Did it work?
It
That
did.
didn't. There's a strip club roam.
Cover me.
Gone. Well, it wasn't even a strip club roam. It was a kill
Just a
from
kill,
strip club
yeah.
in towards billiards. But that's an early removal. That's an early removal of your Solus. It's Good Boy as well. And Good Boy has been that sort of integral cool player for the team.
One thing that I find interesting with the setup is they're doubling down the roam game. You know, for FEARX, last time it was just a Scopus inside a strip. Now they're playing players inside of Rafters, who has also just been dealt with. Down goes Coated. There is still this Scopus, though. And look, credit to Heretics. I think they're dealing with the rumors very well. It was kind of the ending that they struggled with. But from a 5v2, there is no way that there should be any other score apart from Heretics winning this round. There's no way you can throw this.
So, this is a point where I'm going to point at the bottom of the left screen. I'm going to say, see, I told you. Although FEARX have had 3 rounds in a row, as I pointed out, round 1 and round 2, both Mephi and Woogieman had massive rounds, and that also continued on towards the next. If anything, we've sort of just removed the players that hadn't really been able to have an impact from the rest of the roster. It's the most stressed these 2 clutch backline players will be under. There's been nothing to help this final little bit of progress. Needs to be made. A minute. And Mephi does get the first, but the pressure should just follow around here as long as they don't make a mistake. Doing their best. The smoke onto blue. They're all focusing. One wave of Mephi pops, but there is Oscar with a very important trade. Woogie gets one more. It's either side up around the tier 3 bombs. No way! One apiece here. And it's all down to Flexi to try and make this connect for the first round on the international stage with Heretics. Viper Woogieman! How can he keep doing this? Mr. Consistent. As I said, he was the top 1vX player in stage 1 and stage 2. Both times the 10th best rated player in the league. It's they can't keep getting away with it. Fine,
So
but
don't
they
worry about
are.
it. I'm confident. You guys should be confident, right? So it's exactly what we were talking about. They're starting off high. They're trying to layer back on the crowd control utility. I genuinely think that we try and do splits, as we said in the game plan. We try and make the map fucking big, right? As big as possible. Get the ghost pressure in, and then we sort of just adapt afterwards. We figure out what they're doing. We then counteract that reaction, right? But first of all, let's make sure that we're playing as a team. Let's take a few deep breaths and let's go into the next few rounds. Let's get these next few rounds. Even if we win one, I'm still confident because I know how good our defense is. Right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I will
Adam.
control 2 rounds.
Adam.
Feels though I needed that. I needed that timeout.
There's the timeout. There's the timeout.
I didn't think I'd have to request the defibrillator already.
16-3 between those 2 players. 16-3 after 3 rounds. Look, I don't know how to quantify that outside of just going, wow, that's pretty good. That's amazing.
I'll give all credit to Woogieman and Mephi because electric already inside of 4 rounds, and you look at the kills that they've been able to gather, 8 kills apiece. But, there's always a but, not good enough from Heretics.
No.
5v2 on a basement Clubhouse. Close that out every day of the
A
week.
minute remaining when they started their executors. They had so much time.
It is just not good
5
enough.
seconds to
It
insertion.
really isn't. That's the best way I can put it. If they want to come here and do well at SI, and yes, I understand that they're the tier 2 team, I get that, and they're coming in here as the LCQ team. I know the capabilities of these players. There's players who have been around for years. There's players here who have played at tier 1. If they want to succeed, they have to clean things up.
we obviously had a great discussion from our desk at the start of the day about the groups, how people propose themselves in, what are the groups to look out for, what are the teams to look out for, and A was heralded as M80's group. But if you are Heretics, you're not looking at that. You're looking at which team is our team to beat. And if you've got NIP, you've got Weibo, and you've got FEARX, this is the team to beat for you. Yeah. And they have to try and pull this one back together.
Especially when we know one win, and that can get you through out of groups. We've seen that.
One win. One team will be dropped from the groups. Yeah. You gotta get your lock in. You gotta get your match.
So, where do we go from here? Well, we go back upstairs into our gym and bedroom defense. That clash which caused them so many issues. I'm actually surprised that maybe the clash wasn't thought about as a ban, but I mean, I suppose whenever we looked at the struggles that they had with opening walls, yeah, the K makes a lot more sense to remove that denial for the reinforcements. Yeah. But still, the clash needs to be dealt with. I'm really happy to see that they have brought in a fairly good operator for it. They've got the Nomad and the Capitan, which I think are two great operators to deal with the clash. Yeah. You know, you can keep them at bay if needed. Just be careful, OU, pouring those windows. Almost loses his head, but just a little bit of chip damage.
I think Capital has always been a very important guy. Yeah. In the field of Siege, the operator doesn't really get a lot of bans because everybody wants him, everybody needs him. There are some counters towards him, but the gun's good. The gadgetry is some of the best in the game for just the wit that you can apply towards the problems you're hit with.
Free speed.
Free speed.
Always people forget about speed sometimes. That's very important.
I play a lot of Capital. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm just trying to get this out there. Now, here's the pressure. Cooking inside the gym. Flexy's able to get one. There's Upal getting the cover. Okay. One of the big problem players is gone, but the pressure's going to start to mount. You can see little pockets of damage. There goes Coated. And now it's down to, once again, a 5 versus 2. But Rin suffering damage here from the repel. Can't quite get Groovy. They've played themselves closer. Mephi has everything to do. Gets the first through the blind. They know exactly where he is. He's tracked. He's being damaged and dropped. And surely there it is. Heretics. They are off after a slow start. They've finally taken a few steps.
Yeah, much better. And you looked at the way that they open up the walls so much quicker than what they had to deal with before. I think that helps out that team a lot. Nobody went early. You know, I think what we discovered from, well, apart from the one round, the first three, certainly I think there was elements where players maybe just went a little bit too fast. You know, you think about the Deimos who was downstairs in kitchen in the first gym and bedroom. You know, he got caught off by his own by the guy in main stairs. Little moments like that, I think, doesn't help the overall structure whenever you're trying to play that 3-2-1 siege, which is obviously what they went for. And that was a great execute. You know, all the util was dumped at the correct positions. They got their kills. They still plenty of enough time to do so. I mean, look, obviously for FEARX, I think trying to go for a clean sweep in Clubhouse is very difficult. But still, already I think for FEARX, they'll be happy with the half no matter what. But hey, they still have a chance to go 5-1 here.
Oh yeah, I think that's the main thing, right? If you're FEARX, we can go 5-1, and we should go 5-1. We cannot get in our heads. But this is that little thing that I'm going to talk about that every caster likes to talk about, and a lot of the Heretics fans right now, or people that don't like FEARX. Oh yeah, but this was a clutch round, and this was a clutch round, and it should be 3-2 to Heretics right now, and blah, blah. It could be. It very much could be, but it isn't. And if we end up in a 4-2 and Heretics get this, then that, oh, it should be a 3-2, it should be a 4-2, suddenly becomes, oh, the game should be over by now. And Heretics will be thinking that.
You know what I love? We mention a lot of times, especially for LCQ weekends. Yep. All you have to do is have a good, 2 or 3 days, and you get SI.
Easy.
Just have a good 2 weeks, and you lift the hammer.
It's so easy. Listen, why can't you just win this game? It's so easy. Now, Rin, I said it at the start of how to explain how Rin's playstyle operates. It is all or nothing. And it's an unfortunate all or nothing because when they are one of the best players in a lobby. They're not scared of anyone, which is a huge, huge thing to have for your entry player, right? In that role, the toughest thing is not being scared, to just take a fight, and Rin will throw down with anybody, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter if they've lifted 30 hammers or they've never even seen a hammer. Unfortunately, it also sort of has a habit of if they go negative, they just keep going negative. If they get off to a good start, they just get better and better and better. And here, missing that sort of tip is kind of costing them.
So Jim and Bedroom's going to be doubled down on here from FEARX, and straight away you can see the adjustment is they're bringing in a little bit more anti-util. You know, they've got the Jaeger in now, they're trying to hold in towards top red, and I mean, people maybe don't see this, but I do, because I've got a little top-down view. Oscar was very close to being caught out there in a 1v1 against Woogieman, and this is the engagement we're seeing right now.
Well, there's two bodies that immediately filter away, tries to get themselves on the cross, and Rin does find the first, but look how isolated now Woogieman is. He's hoping he can get a sneaky drop, and he does. There's one, and now he's got the cross window. Has control out, can put the pressure on towards the balcony. So they've got to move. They hop their way in. They're going for the plant. They've pulled off inside Jim. Skeptic's in a fight, but Woogieman can't just keep the attention here. The Clash is trying to whir and burr away on the upside down rappel inside, trying to get the camera, but they can't quite find themselves a safe place to sit. Rin gets the second, but Grubby on the upside down rappel just continually keeps Heretics biting and biting at the approach here. Now with 40 seconds, loads of time, they're hopping their way in and putting their way past the Clash shield itself. They have a cross. Skeptic has cover. They can go for the plant itself. There needs to be some pressure, some movement here from FEARX. They know where one is. There's the cross on the divider, 2 versus 1. This time for Skeptic. Oh, just survived the first engagement. He'd need his first 2 kills to lock in the second round, but Woogieman! How many times these two players, 20-5 between the pair of them. There is that 5-1 half.
That's a legacy half from FEARX. Great 2v2 being played. They knew the positionings of both of the attackers. I mean, Skeptic was having a mare. Like, that bulletproof was really putting him off his confidence there going for a plant. We know there's no denial, and you just have to try and play with guns up. They wait for the perfect moment. As soon as they hear that diffuser being planted, that's when they make their move. That is when they start trying to isolate a 1v2 against the player inside a bathroom. And they've done really well. They isolate that kill, and then for Skeptic, that's always going to be a tough 1v2 to win that. But you have to just highlight the two players. I mean, what can you say? It's their world.
Okay, it's just beautiful Siege as well. Because, hey, look, it's me. Remember, I was the person a few minutes ago where I say, well, it's been a clutch round, it could have been this. I'm now the FEARX fan saying the other thing. It isn't, though. And a lot of that comes from how well they're playing as a pair. Look at that clutch and how they move together demo, as you pointed out. Look at the one where it was the 2 versus 5. Yeah, Heretics dropped the ball, but the way they moved, covered, pick their fight, how comfortable they are to wait and then operate, to let them have a bit of space, so when they go for the retake, this unbelievably experienced pair of Korean Siege icons know how to show great Siege.
Isn't this what we want to do with this? I mean, you've dubbed it the Korean super team.
Love them.
The same way that we've obviously had, I mean, the Falcons team straight away from Europe.
Yes.
Right? Where every player can be relied on to make a play. Isn't that the same thing where we know that, yes, these two players are playing really well, but I guarantee next map, it could be Rin, it could be Gigaboy. That is the power that the merging of the best Koreans coming together has caused. This is what you get, where any one of them can show up. It just so happens to be Woogieman and Mephi.
Well, I think it's the thing about Good Boy is a player that I sort of wanted to briefly talk about.
I think he's great.
Other things have popped off. In the first stage of this year, he was the top-rated player in APAC North.
I remember whenever he first came into the league, he was
unbelievable.
On fire.
And he came in, right, as James Devmada told me.
Good actor.
The hottest prospect in the area. They signed him before he turned 18.
He was on like an analyst but
because they were like, oh no, as soon as this kid is 18, he's in. And he was an entry player, he played all of this. Now he's in this other role where he's not the IGL, but he's the secondary shot caller. And it's just how they operate is brilliant, but...
Side switch.
Side switch.
Okay, you have mentioned that this is not great for FEARX. However, Good Boy.
Wow.
Didn't we just talk about him?
I mean, Groovy getting caught out as well was doing a similar sort of role to Rin.
Scopos, yeah.
Scopos playing wide. Here's a shield that's about to face the face, but Oscar does get Rin, gets the cover. Do they know about the close cross here? There needs to be some secondary pressure.
Ella.
Doing his best, hits the Ella. And as they spray themselves out, he might not know. Well, he does actually. The Blitz has moved away. He's trying to find a different place to operate. There's a bit of a support. There's a blind, and there's the drop, but there's the kill elsewhere at the same second. It's massive fight for this territory. Get out of there. Right move, Heretics. Think about where the side is. Think about what has been traded out here and what has been taken out from each team demo.
There's 4 players in that top floor, by the way, from the defense. The fact that they've only just lost 2 out of that, I think it's incredible, just to show how quickly they got back into the bomb site. Now, a 3v3, I will say I think Heretics are still in a really good position because they brought in that Goyo. You know, that is the operator that we look to whenever that time starts to chip away. That's the operator that's going to cause the most problems for the attackers. Now, in terms of what FEARX still have, you can still get the hatches open. You've still got your bucks. You can do a bit of soft destruction in the kitchen. You can still go for a fairly typical kitchen drop here.
Well, this isn't fairly typical. The Blitz is in and he's off to the races. He's going and trying to get the cover, but there's a man coming around the back of him. He's doing his best to buy time. Do they get the trade-off? There's at least one down. The buck Scanlan keys his way through into 1 versus 1, but the down player could try and call some positions. Long-range flashbang can't make the rotate because of the
great rotate
put together. Kiba gets himself back round on towards the other side. 40 seconds. Loads and loads of time here. Good boy opened the round with the entry kill, and Flexi is going to see if he can try and lock it down. Time to reload, time to think, time to try and bait the motion. There's nothing in pockets. Goes for the cross, gets himself a bit closer. Good boy moves himself to a slightly different position. They are so well aware of where he is, but Flexi finally gets that big clutch round.
Flexi's positioning in that whole round I thought was fantastic. The way that he was able to rotate out of danger. I mean, he was one of the roamers upstairs, got himself back to site. As that buck came charging through third box in towards AKs, Flexi made a great rotate back into church. Go to the place that you know they're going to have no info on. They could have info. There could be a drone somewhere in armory. They know there's nothing inside a church. And that's where then he plays his 1v1 because there's going to be no calls. And then you isolate that plant. He knows that he's going to either have to stick it or try and go for the kill. I mean, just great from Flexi. Great reactions there. I mean, that blitz coming straight from the hatch. I mean, wow. I mean, but that
immediate.
That is the kind of siege that we're used to from FEARX, where they play that high risk, high reward. Now, whenever it comes to the blitz, I mean, Code has to remember he's not Nova. That is, by the way, there has been so much talk about the best shield players. Oh, you know, we've got Savage here at this event, for example.
Are you listening?
Newt somewhere, but I promise you now, this is from me, coming from me, who's got a lot of blitz in the locker. Nova, the best there ever was and ever will be.
Now I can see Laxing right now. He's nodding, he's agreeing, he's thumbs up. Nova is also known, I think, as being one of the best substitutes ever.
Yep.
Like, has stepped in and stood in for a long period. The fun thing about Nova as well, from when we last were in Paris for SI, how many years ago? Only remaining player from what was the core of this roster that was playing throughout then. He's obviously in towards the coach role now, but he has been in a Paris SI before. You know, maybe he's got some words of French wisdom. Groovy, unfortunately, words of for not quite getting the kill that he wanted. Good attention to detail, and I think that's the thing about Groovy. He's always trying to find those picks.
He's always after a little bit of, you know, cheeky players. Just that quick little kill to try and spin it on its head, where you'll have a big advantage going into the round. And that's just the kind of character he is. And I mean, he grew up in the EU rank scene, so that's what you expect, isn't it?
There's things you can say about his play style that people have probably said frustrated in their ranked games. So, we find ourselves here with, I think, the longest we've had before somebody getting caught out. A whole minute has passed, and maybe that's just the method they want to do, because, as I said, FEARX generally a bit slower apart from that.
Yeah, I was going to mention going for the gym and bedroom and a very heavy extension where Heretics were attempting to hold in towards rafters. That has been put to bed. I mean, I think Upor probably could have got a lot more mileage out of this position. I mean, his Kibas weren't really touched. There was no util thrown towards him. He just kind of peeked the breach and died. You know, and that doesn't help whenever you're in those positions. I think patience is a key thing if you play inside of rafters. Now, this clash, again, similar issues to you know, what Heretics were up against with the clash, where they didn't really have a great way to deal with it. I think similar could be said here. It all comes down to how well Consulate can use the Thatcher, and oh dear, Flexi gives themselves away. He's trying to find a pick back on that main breach, but it's just made it worse for his team.
50 seconds now, and this is a great piece for FEARX to try and put the last bits of the puzzle together and try and crack this hold. They've complemented how they've operated as a team before, but this is the stress point, this is the pressure point, and this is where players like Ruby and Oscar can really operate and show, hey, Woogieman, Mephi, you can do it, we can do it too. Now there's some pressure, some destruction of utility, 30 seconds. They're going to see if they can try and get themselves in, and this is where mistakes can be punished. Look at the backline they've got. Oscar's setting the shield up. They're going for the close plant here on towards Jim, though. They're changing hands of the kit. It seems like they're actively and openly discussing the play deep. They're worried about the hacks. They're worried about the motion of the clash itself.
Good boy drop below. Where's he going?
Deimos, he's hunting Groovy. They're going for the plant. There's the C4 over the top, and it's not quite enough to get the catch on the kill, but a couple of kills go into their favor. It's the 3 versus 2. Good boy. He's still hunting. He's still trying to cook some pressure. There's the kill on towards Groovy. Skeptic goes down. And FEARX, I mean, it was closer than you would have expected, but
I've clocked it now where the Deimos dropped below, because I found that a little bit strange. 20 seconds, and then he's going downstairs. I think FEARX realized throughout that whole take, they had no backstab pressure. There was nobody over towards Logi on the hatch, nobody towards like the main breach even, nobody towards main stairs, and they thought, we actually need to get a guy in that position. And there you go. The Deimos made a very late rotation, but still came up with the goods. Now, look, 1 C4, I think, changes the dynamic massively. You know, if Grubby hits that C4, yeah, different ball game, but FEARX maintain the course and they get the plant down and they win a fairly easy closeout. So this is match point. I mean, Heretics have a big old hill to climb up.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough for them here. I mean, FEARX, I'm impressed today. Look, for the new players, obviously you have to mention that, yes, there was big moments, there were big clutches. I mean, straight away, I've noticed, since they've gotten to the attack, now more players are starting to get into the game.
I think I mean, it had to happen, right? You can't, listen,
10 seconds left.
Woogieman and Mephi's opening half, Hall of Fame, but you can't just rely on that.
No, it's not sustainable. Yeah,
no, and especially on the attack where you need to make this happen. And the thing is, as I said, when you have that on defense, those players that can make those things happen can operate. When you look towards who is operating on the side of Heretics, Flexi, the person who hasn't played Tier 1, is the one that's doing the best. He's the one that almost, there's almost less pressure on him because in the weirdest way of putting it, he hasn't had the mantle of an S-tier event to pressure before.
And then you can go on the flip side, Skeptic Snake, same boat.
Yep.
He is on the other end of the shoe.
It's a big shoe.
Big old shoe.
Big old shoe. But he did get his first kill in the past round, and that is almost one of the biggest reliefs. And now, for Heretics fans, you hope Skeptic can start to build a little bit more. Obviously, the Maestro has a lot of bubble utility, has a lot of kind of close down here, and quick work of the walls, but quick partial work. However, that sort of angle is, just the impact to play against it, where they are, and how much they want to focus on the other side. We're about to find out.
I find this very interesting of a setup here from Heretics. They've went pretty heavy into the idea that FEARX were going to clear from bedroom. They've got 3 players situated on this side of the map. One guy inside of rafters and the other just inside of sight, because you never know. There could be a shield at any moment going for the breach. But yeah, FEARX gonna go for the clear. Gonna see how well they can clear away these roamers, and there's the first trade, but it actually goes in favor of Heretics as Grubby's been able to get coated.
Well, here's the close fight to the blitz, and they're sprayed down, but they can't quite net the kill. They do need to make something happen, but badly played and executed for it. There's at least the trade out, and there's suddenly someone else, but it's a 1 versus 3. Loads of time, good boy. He's got a 1 versus 1 on this side of the map, but he can't thread the needle.
Guys, stop fucking around against them, guys. You gotta fucking make it 6-6 fucking bots, man. Why are you not active holding the logic?
So he's fired up, you could say.
6-6. Hey,
that's what
hey,
he. Well, it's 6-3 currently, Grubster. You got a bit of work to do before the 6-6, but hey, time to go, time to work.
Yeah, that's good prep work. I think coming in from Heretics, realizing that FEARX, that they love a bedroom clear. Yeah. Let's just throw a ton of utility and hope it sticks, and well, it did. They stuck the landing. Also want to talk about the way that Oscar countered that blitz, and it's something that you sometimes you think, oh, if the blitz is directly in front of you and he gets you flashed, oh, you're a dead man. Not in that environment. In a very kind of enclosed space inside a Logi, you just move away, just run away from the guy, because the blitz is pretty slow. The ADS, it takes a bit of time. And then once you reposition, whenever that blitz isn't going to charge at you, you're unblinded, And you do Oscar, just hit him in the face.
There is always that possibility that little I was going to call it a snowdrop. That's not what I meant. Snowflake.
Snowflake.
Turns into a snowball.
Teardrop you could have used.
Teardrop from losing rounds. Turns into a snowflake because it's cold. Turns into a snowball. Turns into an avalanche. Turns into a 6-6. Turns into an overtime. Turns into a bank where Heretics are heated up. Turns into a FEARX Lust.
This is like, what's that? The people who just naturally think of like worst case scenario for everything in their life.
Yeah.
You've just done.
10 seconds left.
Oh. Well, Tim, you've been outed.
As a
5 seconds.
There's a word for it.
There is a term.
There is a word for it.
pessimist.
It's no. It's like
Okay.
It's,
That is a word
I'll
for
look
it.
There is something for
Okay,
it.
you're going to look it up and it's going to be like, oh wow, pessimist. She was right.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, we'll see. 6-3 currently top middle of our screens. And Groovy has got himself into double figures. For all we talked about how great the opening half was for Woogieman and Mephi, things have slowed down a little bit on towards the attack. And you can see now rotating operators getting themselves on the Deimos, trying different things. If they start finding themselves shut out, he's gonna go away from you. You're waving at me.
I've got the word. Well, it's not a word. It's a phrase.
Right, okay.
Catastrophic thinking.
Okay,
There you go.
You're saying it to me like you've read it in like a self-help book. Hey, gang, stop catastrophic thinking. How about we start catastrophically not doing? As they go for the break here, heavy shield play. I mean, the blitz was removed. Fair play, smart ban. They know how much they were utilizing the blitz, and they know that it's caused problems.
Loading
It
new
wasn't
magazine.
always the sharpest, but when it was, it dictated the round.
The blitz gives you some smoke as well, which is also very important. So, whenever we come now into our next round, again, I think that Heretics are just trying to control a good majority of this map. You know, a lot of the time, we're seeing them go for these heavy extensions, something similar again, where we can see them inside the first floor. You've got Grubby and also Upor. I mean, Grubby is in the meat locker.
Oh, do they know?
Oh, he missed the impact. Oh,
Missed the impact, didn't know as much, but does get himself out of there. Happy to escape. But think about the time wasted, right? Talk about slow at this point, they can just fall back to site.
Well, the only thing I will say, they've counteracted that time. They've already opened up the hatches for them.
Yeah, there is that
So
balance.
you don't really get it back.
The waste now will be how safe Rin.
what?
No.
Oscar, you lucky
Ooh,
duck.
trying to be sneaky, but Oscar just didn't stop. I think he just felt something in the air, and he's like, no, I'm out of here. My book told me about this.
I think he realized how close he was to death.
Rin takes a bit of damage entering on towards Blue, and Elbow just gets out of there. Doesn't want to stick around and get caught out because they don't want to give them that opening engagement. As I said, they have a play style, and they know entirely when they can try and pull it together. Less than a minute. All 10 players still stood as the work gets done on towards the above.
It's going to be a lot of pressure here on the U4, I feel. You look at the lineup that we have from FEARX, a lot of flashbangs. That's going to be their main way into the bomb site with their util. You know, they're not bringing in a Grim, for example, which we know is very, very common for a lot of the 3-2-1 executes, but it's just going to be a lot of flashbangs, so surely the Warden's going to get value.
Well, at this point, with the Goyos burning out and the kit currently sitting above Moto, they're going to see if they can try and go for a bit of split pressure because Rin's got one. They've got Good Boy on Kitchen, and here's the hatch drop there. Going around for the swing. The first fight is missed because he was stuck under the cover of the shield. Pressure on towards the pipe wall as Mephi gets one back. They're rotating round. There's Rin inside Blue, traded out. They're trying to find a space to breathe, but look at the timer here, Demo. He's recollected the kit. Mephi's going to try and stick the plant itself. The last two players are at the back of the AKs. They're looking for somewhere to go. There's at least just U4 left. And it's a 1 versus 3. They're off, they're out of there. It's a close tie, and that is the first map for FEARX. They take Clubhouse, and they get themselves that one step closer towards that first victory at SI.
Yeah, great win. Comfortable win, 7-3. I always think it's a good score line to start the day off with. Overall, I mean, it just sets us up nicely for map number 2 now.
And sets us up for a nice quick break.
BNK FEARX get off the ground running. That is a phenomenal start from the APAC roster that we came into with so many questions. But ultimately, Lax, like what an individual performance from some of these players.
Yeah, I mean, Woogieman in particular, I mean, he was so instrumental to keep the mentality right, to keep the momentum going through so many of these rounds. I mean, round 4, this huge 1v4K clutch from him. I mean, this should have never been a situation for Heretics to lose, even in multiple of these rounds. But again, it really speaks in to the individual prowess each and every single one of these players have. But again, it has to be coming on the backing of Woogieman. And Fox, we've experienced this firsthand playing against a player like Woogieman. He's very unpredictable. He can make anything happen when you don't think it's going to go the way that it does. And again, it's so instrumental for him to be able to have these pop-off rounds to keep the momentum going. But I mean, realistically, is that going to be enough as we further advance throughout this game or even throughout the tournament?
I mean, for this game, yes. I don't think for the tournament. I mean, yes, we are happy to see Woogieman, Mephi step up. That's
Absolutely
what we talked about.
Wow.
FEARX performing well individually, but they weren't really tested. It was a lot of poor decision-making when it came to the side of Heretics. Questionable decisions, questionable gunfights, especially when they have the opening man advantage. It seemed like Heretics gave FEARX essentially a leg into this game to be able to close it out. And so that's not necessarily enough in my opinion. That being said, I do like some of what I saw on Heretics defenses. I wish they were able to start on that side. I really like the innovation, them playing upstairs in kitchen. That's something that we've seen here and there, but for a new rookie team essentially to be able to bring stuff out at Invitational, try things out, I do think that is something to take away for them.
I feel as though this is the roster you would have wanted to verse. If you were Heretics coming into SI for the very first time, this is the roster I would want to be looking at because I know what APAC are like. They're just not meeting the challenge right now.
I think that's the issue here, because even when I said looking at this map, I did like it, however, for Heretics, but again, you had to look back. Those maps were relatively close. It wasn't a clean sweep, and then you're going to a team like APAC, where we've always known APAC as a region plays very unorthodox. It is very hard to keep clamps on top of them, and you struggled on a very small, very structured map, and it worries me when we go to map 2 on a map like Bank, where it's a big plethora of a map. There's a lot more room you have to cover, and you can't be able to do that on a smaller map. It really begs the question, are they going to be able to do it on a map like Bank?
I mean, that's what we were saying in the full best of 3. These maps look like they favor FEARX. The one caveat for Heretics that could give them that leg back into this map too is the fact that their defenses on Clubhouse were really good. Onto a map like Bank, you can take a big amount of pressure. They really were dominating the time. It was in the later seconds that FEARX was able to get those kills. They were trading it back, and that was good individual play from FEARX. On a map like Bank, it's the time, and it's that much bigger of a map that you can play behind utility.
I think that's the bigger thing too, is yes, it is a bigger map, but is the decision-making, the poor decision-making. I think if Heretics really want to get the win here to push it to a map 3, it comes down to that decision-making. It comes down to slowing down and identifying that win condition, because they had it plenty of times. They just overstepped.
I think in their first half, this is something that we noted was, 4 opening kills. Flexi got 4 opening kills, right?
And kudos to him.
Yeah, kudos to him. Only 1 converted. And I think that that's where we're kind of talking about. We talk about OKDs so many times. How many times, sorry, not OKDs, but OKCs, how many times are you converting those opening kills? Now, look, to be fair, when we went to the second half, it was really not that different for BNK either. They got 3 opening kills, only 1 of them converted. Well, by the end, 4th. But I think that this is one of those talking points where when we go to Bank, where does that unravel for these teams?
Well, that's what I'm saying is the decision-making. If you're losing your defensive rounds, when you're getting that opening advantage on defense, on a map like Bank, when you can just sit back after you get the opening kill, rely on the C4s, rely on the utility, if you're losing it there to poor decision-making, it not only means that you're going to lose this series, but it doesn't look good for the rest of the tournament as a whole if you're losing defensive banks. If you don't have the C4s in position, if you don't have the smoke canisters, Goyos, whatever the case may be, if the poor decision-making comes down to it on a defender-sided map like Bank, that's red flags for the rest of the tournament.
Got to slow down. If you're Heretics right now, you actually need to pick the pace up. You need to look good as much as you want to slow down. It is time for us to get underway with Bank, Emmy, and Demo to run you through it.
Thank you very much. Oh, you're still here. You're still here down here in Tiny. Oh, no, they're gone. Get rid of them. Get him gone. Yeah, and I am so excited because I think there's still a lot to grow, right? Your scariest thing that you do on an SI is your first game. Arguably the final, if you make it, is pretty scary as well. But the first game, Heretics have done that. They've got that out of the way. They've ripped the Band-Aid off. Now they've just got a quick trip to the bank.
Yeah, that's not a good trip to the bank for these guys.
Okay. Well, let's see what's in stock. Money is in stock, because it's a bank. Cash money, baby. I didn't know how I was going to pick up what I said there as the throw. That was the best I could do. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I've got a date for you.
Oh.
October 10th.
Okay, I'm there. I'm imagining it. My eyes are closed. I'm imagining it.
That was the last time Project Zero at the time, now
Zero.
Heretics, played the map Bank.
Okay, I'm getting
It has been a permaban for them since.
I'm getting bad vibes.
Yeah.
I'm getting bad vibes.
This is not a map for them. This is a map that they have actively banned. I don't think it's a case where, oh, we're going to hide that map. No, I don't think it's the case of that. So this is uncharted territory for the most part. For Heretics, this is where they really have to step up. But because it's the map that, again, we're well aware that they're not, again, not great on, they don't want to play it.
Yep.
I would say the Siege is going to be pretty bare-boned here in Bank.
I think that's very fair. I think Bank is...
I love Bank. Great map.
Yeah.
Great for Shield players.
Great for Shield players. Yep. Oh, FEARX have a lot of Shield players. They love to play a lot of Shield.
Woogie Man on the Fuse Shield.
Woogie Man.
I hope it's a Fuse Shield. It better be.
We'll find out. We'll find out. But you're also looking at a map that can be good for people that love to swing into fights, right? You're looking at the fight down blue. You're looking at the fight on towards, obviously, the plant spot. People trying to battle on hatches if you want to hold open, drop down, yada, yada. There's places where I think this Heretics roster can also really find some good footing.
Yeah. Well, I think Bank, this is the map where I feel you need to prioritize getting to the Fuser planting. As it is the map where we know, I mean, we've cast it how many times? If the diffuser goes down, the retakes are the toughest retakes in the game. You think about the basement trying to retake on the hatches, upstairs, the window gameplay, even open area. Like, imagine trying to retake in the kitchen to go for the fuse and the whole quad wall's opened up. It's not fun.
So it starts here with at least one shield ban and the Ying removed from the side of Heretics. They don't want to go up against it, and Rin wants to go up against Groovy. Groovy gone. That is your Fenrir removed. As we sort of said, these are two players that are just gonna probably keep going toe-to-toe, right? Both of them always wants to find a fight, baby. Both of them always want to try and go against each other, sorry. And then both of them are always going to probably be an early name. And obviously, Flexi had a great time in the previous map, but you kind of want to see more from the other players of Heretics roster because we know what they're capable of from the gun side. Oh.
I like it.
Oh.
Do it. Oh, well, that was...
Oh, okay, I see.
That was
So
anticlimactic.
they expected him to run sideways, so he was like, I'm going to open next to it. He's going back. There's still a player above. This is very brave. Oh. And also the right decision. The timer took too late. Genius demo.
Yeah, like it a lot. The roaming tub. Again, don't forget, tub can counter the Deimos track if you stand in it. And that's exactly what Oscar has went for. And again, he's still an active issue right now. Well, there goes Upor. For some reason, he takes the waddle upstairs and gets completely destroyed. But, like I mentioned, it was all about Oscar there, and he's still upstairs, and Flexi's with him inside open area, which, again, is pretty typical to find the Izami inside of open area. You think of the cover that can be deployed there. Always a tricky thing.
Wow, they've been able to get some of this damage. As I said, they're going to be happy trying to find these fights and be a bit active, and they've proven that. Even what looked like a surety of getting the kill, there's the pressure. There's a second gun coming, and he's not going to hang around much longer, but tries to take a bite demo.
Yeah, I think it's a good drop. Whenever you know what operators are still up, you've still got the smoke.
Yep.
I'm sure Goyos are still kicking about inside the site. So in terms of denial, it's all there for Heretics. They just have to, again, play it pretty default, which is what I was expecting from this team on Bank.
Well, now a 3 versus 3, 40 seconds. Still needs to get hatches open, and now you're looking at the execute. Okay, 2 smoke canisters. We're in a pretty nice spot. Okay, the kit is still sitting around and needs to be recollected. So where are they going to roll themselves here, Demo?
I mean, they have the sense. So in terms of hatch dropping, that is doable now for this side.
They're going to try and run themselves down main. There's the first smoke canister to pop, and we hear it on the other side. There's the roll of the sense. There's the second. They're just going to try and cut the middleman out. There's still a player caught inside. 10 seconds, and now the first fight is Skeptics to take, and there's the second follow through, but Flexi, he retakes. They're on main stairs. And what else can you really do here, Woogie Man? He knows he's going to get swung on, and he does. Heretics open with the first round, and for the first time at SI, because I can say it, it's the first game, a lead.
Oh, well, a big sigh of relief, I think, for the players there of Heretics. Very important kill from Skeptic, I have to admit. That was A good little kind of pocket play that FEARX had went for, considering, again, they didn't have a lot left. Use the sensors, get them across that corridor, which is typically a bit of a bottleneck, and a choke point can be held from multiple different angles. You cut down half of them, yeah, you can walk on through. Skeptic being able to kill the player behind the Blackbeard was important. If he loses that engagement, that's a very simple 3v2 plan. Yeah, Upor was a question mark, I think, that round. You have to say.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
I'm not sure what... I mean, they were trying to swing and just keep the pressure up. It's fair enough. We heard in the timeout, the sort of mentality was make the map.
Yeah, they wanted to just roam as much as they could. And this is a massive map to do so.
Yeah.
And I think it's a case where, they're so focused on Oscar, I could maybe slip in here, but then at the same time, you really think they wouldn't have a drone set up for that? You know, it's kind of double-edged sword.
Their network is the top floor at that point. They're...
So I think
Good idea. I mean, they still won the round, right? Yeah, you can still put it together, but now we'll head our way on towards the top floor. We get ourselves on the desk, and we have a little bit more sort of set yourself up castle. Yeah, pretty standard. Get the laser gates on. Try and slow things down in your approach.
Every time I hear laser gates, I just cannot imagine it without his voice. Honestly, that's the way that's affected me.
I think he says it in his sleep as well.
He wakes up in the nightmare. Laser gates! Laser gates! Yeah, look, in terms of the lineup, it's exactly what you want for a top floor. You've got that kind of layer upon layer, like Shrek once said.
Great film.
It's like an onion.
Yeah.
You just have to try and peel them away. And really, I think if you look at the lineup from FEARX, they've got the floors, which is very important. You know, we see the kind of drone parkour where you put it on the rooftop and then jump it off the roof in through the window, clear away the castle barricades and the Izamis. You can see him doing right now, ready with the drones.
It's not as easy as they might make it look. And now he's maybe going to mess it up because I said it.
Here we go.
But players make this look quite simple. Up. You drop down here, you spin it,
Look, little 180.
and then you drop down onto here. It looks so simple. Go and try that right now. Pause the stream. It's not as easy as it looks, but it's so efficient. Great use of utility. Get the windows open. However, this is the worry against going a team with players like Grubion, players like Oscar. You can't really hang around on these windows too much because you know they're going to try and reapply pressure.
Oh, he missed it. I think, did he just miss that? I think he did.
I'm not too...
Yeah, he did.
Sure, yeah. That will stay standing. They're going to have to try and burn a bit more utility. The second grenade will roll its way out, and there is the castle got this time round. But again, this timer is, you know, they're doing a lot of setup work. They're immediately putting eyes on towards the site itself, but what really do they have internally? You can see the Buck trying to make a bit of an approach underneath Janitors. Heavy Janitors pressure to sweep them out, but as Matthew gets caught out, the Buck's trying to find his fight, and they can't quite get the kill either. Upor lives.
Now, this is where you get in with a sense. You've cleared out Janitor. That is the kind of danger area where somebody could kill you as you swing in. Ooh. Use the sense, use the cover, go and get that plant down. Like I said before, prioritize the plant whenever it comes to bank.
They've changed the hands of the kit. They're going to try and roll it round, as you said. You've got the watch on Janitors, so now the pressure has to be on that crossfight. The players on side, that welcoming reception desk, to just make sure no one gets any further. Waiting, Oscar patiently ready to pounce on anyone that might get themselves a bit closer. They're going for the breach on the wall itself. Will he swing? Will he go on an adventure? Woogie takes a bit of danger, but the plant is being secured at this point. Is anything going to try and stop it? Look at the position. No, Groovy. He rotates round, and, well, he's been able to get past the window player, but he gets caught out by Rin. There's the swing round right in the middle of the site. They're still watching. Oscar's trying to retake in the meantime, but it's blinds at dawn. And can anybody try and find a way past the wall? There's Oscar. Swings round, doesn't know where the last man is. He's behind a bush. At what point will he go for the ambush? Well, there's the swing round, gets one, still can watch the fight. It's swinging either side, Woogie Man! But now it is just a 1 versus 2 on the window, but the man on the ground is the one that shakes it. One apiece.
Yeah. Good dissection from FEARX. Done everything correct. Burn away the layers, take down their util. The Buck, great rotation, eliminates Janitor. It then allows you to get ready to swing in through those windows. Now, if I do want to be overcritical,
You demo want to be overcritical. I have never heard of such a thing.
So, it comes down to position of players.
Yeah.
Right? Obvious that they're going to go for a plant. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
Yep.
One way that they could have stopped the plant, as we know, is the C4. Skeptic Snake, which is his full name, by the way, just in case people aren't aware.
Okay.
We know him as Skeptic Snake, because that was his GT beforehand. Was his handle.
His GT.
Uh-huh. And he had a C4, and he was not in a position to use it. He actually died with it in his, he just died with it, didn't even use the C4. You know, moments like that, use the util that you have at your fingertips. You have the C4. Try and stop the plant.
At this point, now things are leveled up. And now on towards that side. What you're looking at from the side of FEARX is they're probably going to be pretty comfortable on their defense here. There was the highlight towards Echo's growth, and obviously the conversations about how good he is right now with the extra drone, with where he can sort of go. This is a great map for him in general. This is a map where you can have that roaming drone anyway, and then you'll still have the plant denial. We expect to see it, even with a a Thatcher that's probably going to be rolling around on the board. There is almost that curiosity point, and it's still a mile away, of what they try and remove out of each other's teams with that almost let's bait utility game. But we'll get there when we get there. We're still here right now, and what we're here doing is setting up. We've got the stretch, we've got ourselves on towards Archives, we're playing on open, but once again, I feel like we're going to have most of the brawl on the top floor.
I mean, Good Boy and the Nook has immediately raised my interest in what he's going to do this round. Big old map. Cameras that you can avoid, yeah, makes sense to go for that operator. Just depends what his pathing's going to be. You can see he's getting set up a drone inside a lobby, so I assume he's going to try and walk in through these ATMs, and he has spotted a Malusi extending in towards Tellers and Archives, and with that Dokumi call, he's going to try and make an approach as everyone else is going to create a bit of noise upstairs. Oh, the Nook has been dealt with immediately as he's walked through the ATM doors.
Oscar gets a second on towards Mephi, and things have started to pull away. Mephi was very close towards the fight, and they've just sort of rotated. Great bit of motion here. They went for the smash and grab. He might not know that a player's to his right-hand side, but he's going to keep himself safe.
This is the high-risk, high-reward again coming in from FEARX. It either works or it doesn't.
Rin does find Flexi elsewhere. Might not know he's about to have someone behind him.
Oh, whoa!
Whoa! That was almost real bad. That was almost super bad.
I think he was expecting the Blitz to run into him, that's why he knifed, but still a little bit scary, Oscar.
So at this point now, just the 2 versus the 4. They got a single player elsewhere, but you're looking at what they have to try and operate on this site, right? Nothing in their pockets. No grenades, no flashes. It's just going to be a bit of a street brawl down here. Skeptic Snake might do something with that pocket barbed wire, but...
Hello? Was he not? Oh no, am I looking at the wrong thing?
I think
I've been tricked.
You've been tricked. You've been tricked. Cody does get one. There's the fight though, and Cody got caught from the hatch drop, and he needs some support here from Rin, but Rin's about to meet a shotgun at close quarters. And it goes the way it does. 2-1, trade rounds back and forth. What I think FEARX are looking for though is 2 total. That's the stress.
I think FEARX are just struggling ever so slightly, where if the initial plan doesn't work, the adaptation game hasn't been too strong from them. You know, they've suffered kind of kills in the early game, and they just struggled to get themselves back into the game from that.
Yep.
That's really the only thing that I'm noticing from them. But you mentioned before, typically a team we see do better on the defense. So again, for FEARX, they know that this is going to be the tough side for them.
Oh, 100%. It's the place they're happier with. Here's the... Ooh. There was a second where the audio gave a bit of the game away, but at that point, he's behind a crossfire. That was played very well by Heretics. And it's sort of the game that we want to see from them, right? Is we know what they're capable of. We know they can be aggressive. We know they can explore the map without fear. And they should be able to do that. Put FEARX off that game, because FEARX aren't the quickest team at getting their executes together.
I think the prep work has been good so far from Heretics. I think just generally the overall game, I think they've had an idea with what kind of FEARX are going to go for. And I suppose this is also another thing. What on earth were FEARX... How do they prep Bank for a team who doesn't play the map? That's always a fun one.
Yeah, oh, you can't have any prep. I mean, even going through this as well, right? Obviously, we've cast Heretics when they were under their previous student, Protect Zero. We cast them in the finals for the Tier 2 recently. We've cast them throughout their growth in towards this. Obviously, they're the only team at this whole event that wasn't in a position to earn SI points throughout the year. Every single other team could have. They didn't, because some of them struggled, but they could have. This is the truest Tier 2 team.
And don't forget who they had to go up against in that qualifier. You think about the professional teams, the Tier 1 teams inside of EML that did not make it. And Fnatic, Wolves, Shifters, VP.
Yep. And it's a team that only just had a roster change before that as well. Obviously, Oscar coming in as that sort of last swap round, and where they've been able to end up on what was a run undefeated. They've sort of just screamed their way across.
Yeah.
But they can build here on towards Bank. I mean, they kind of want that 5 defensive, because attacking on Bank, with how things went last time round with the clutches that came together, attacking can be awkward, can be time-consuming. It can be, you know, little pockets and little corners that we've seen FEARX love to play in. At this point, they're still trying to wait to get their start. Good Boy might be about to find a fight. Coated to the first to take a scrap of damage. They're getting control over towards the top floor and actually slipped their way past. Where's the pinch going to come? Well, it comes on towards Good Boy. Groovy pops his head out and says hello and pops himself back. He's about to make friends with a Blackbeard. Close locked in with a shotgun. He's well aware of the game. There's the ping, but look at the rotate round on the back. They're trying to get some support. They have one either side. There's the close swing. There's the reveal. There's the punch. Please help him. Help him. There's the help.
He's got that kill. Oh my. I've had to take a knee. I've had to take a knee.
Speechless. I mean, that is a big slip there. Groovy has done magic being able to get that kill together. Really just needed the help there, and they've lost Woogieman. They've lost the shield, which we know they're not going to say rely on, but love to depend on it.
You also need those nades to clear away the Goyo canisters. That's another issue. How do they deal with that? Also, they've lost the Twitch. This is going from bad to worse very quickly.
Yeah, this is... We say that it's awkward to attack this map. Get ready to see a sort of demonstration of why.
Yeah.
You've got also ahead of them, apart from those Goyos, apart from all of these other problems, 3 smoke canisters and a tanker with a significant launcher. What are you supposed to do here, gang? Struggle. There's the first fight. U4 locks it out. Doesn't need any of the gadgetry, even though it's absolutely covered everything. Caught out in the bottom, waiting to be swung here, Coated. They know exactly where he is. You are in a box. And about to be shot in the face. There's the drop elsewhere. Goes for the first fight, and Rin does actually win elsewhere, but doesn't last very long. Neither does the round itself.
Bit of momentum. You don't think, from Heretics? This is,
Oh, yeah.
I think really starting to grow into the game, which is great to see.
I mean, great play from Groovy. You couldn't have asked for a better 2 operators to take out as the first 2, right? At all. And we're going to get a timeout here from FEARX.
A little bit this time. Next round in CO, let the fat plant the most fast we can do. They don't have Azam inside the bomb side. If you want to change something like a maybe play the Goni 6 or play the Castle inside bomb side is good too. But the next round is a full fat plant. It's a casino round. It's no problem if you win, no problem if you lose. Yep. The last round, the open area, I want to simplify more too. We have 5 guys to the full domain in the open area. Forget about all the shit. And after that, we see what's gonna be the last round. Because I think we're gonna kill too many guys top floor. For the domain in open area, we have a double shield open, the Blitz and BB. So let's play one BB in the CO Rappel. Because the Akai guy was me losing, not C4. So no problem to go inside. And for Windows guys is Aruni. So just play some flashbang together, you know. And like for example, like I say, Coatage play Blitz for game and Lin play BB in the CO Rappel.
Yeah, okay.
Double shield call? Is that, I believe, a Blackbeard and a Blitz?
I mean,
for one of the rounds, I think.
Yeah, I guess we'll see when we get things in towards motion. It was very specific timeouts. There's 2 kinds of timeouts you can do. Well, actually, okay, there's 3 kinds of timeouts, but I'm going to make a joke at the end of this. Let's just watch this again. Help him, help him, help him, help him. Can't believe that happened. Okay, tragedy has struck. One of them is a very particular one of, we need to win 1 round, do this, do this, do this. Get it done. The other one is often cited as a Fabian-esque timeout. Get the mental together.
Yeah.
Get the team on board. It's not
how you want to go home.
Every great coach needs to be able to do both and needs to know when to be able to apply both. The third is the we're so far ahead, I'm calling this just to let them stew in some misery a little bit. The Sassy timeout.
Called a BM timeout.
The BM timeout, which has been used in SI.
Double shield.
You're pointing. Yeah.
Shield.
They know what they want to run, and they want to win this round. They want to make sure that they can get this one locked in.
Well, one thing I noticed that he said as well was, what Dark said, doesn't matter if we win or lose this round. He's not bothered. I think he knows that the defense is going to be good too.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what he's banking on. If he can get the 1 round out of his team. I didn't mean to do that, by the way, but thanks.
Clip that, clip that, clip that. He's banking on it. So, we'll see if this can be the change round. I mean, 2 shields. Groovy's C4, good boy, out the window. The Glaz is gone. Well, there goes that window player, and Groovy is smiling, having a great time so far on this map. And as I said, expect more from those 2 players. Rin has also stepped up from before, but unfortunately the rest of the team on these attacks hasn't quite been able to do it. Whether that translates into the second half, we'll have to wait and see. But instead, they're in, and they're getting themselves at the start of the pair of the double walls open. There's the plant side, popped without too much trouble, but you can't really do anything whilst Janitors is still active. And, well, what do we not have this time that was so effective last time? Demo, a buck. Nothing to put the pressure in from underneath.
Yeah, and also with a sense ban coming in from Heretics, it just restricts that movement on those windows. Don't forget, an operator that we seen was successful for them last time they were up here, so definitely a change of pace here that FEARX are attempting, but don't see much really happening for them.
Rin does get the first, just swinging a fight on the window itself. Takes care of Upor. There's the man who can see through it, but as you said, without the sense, without the glass, you're not really going to have the biggest use of that gadgetry. And they're just going to pull the player off the window.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what their options here are. Is it going to be the case where they send the shield coming in for stop trading perhaps and try and take a long corridor? Is that an option for them? And yeah, I think the Blackbeard's now working over towards
underneath.
Square.
The Valkyrie Skeptic has gone underneath. He's going to try and go for the backstab up the stairs itself. Coated might get caught out if they're unaware, but wins it as the fight pops out elsewhere. It's a big crossfight. He kills this player. Oh no! But now it's a 2 versus 1. Flexi, massive moments in the first map itself between a shield and a hard place. He has a 1 versus 1 right now. Coded's going to try and secure the kit. Rin is just back and forth. They're fighting. They're fighting in the long desk. But Rin calls the meeting, and the meeting's notes. The first one says, oh, kill Flexi. Yeah, meeting adjourned.
That's a big round, I think, in terms of 2 attacks on the bank for FEARX, knowing that they have their favorite half coming up. They'll take that, and I think that was the idea from Dark with that timeout. Let's just call a play, and if we win that, fantastic. Now we set, and really, if they get the next round, that's a bonus.
Oh yeah. As I said it early on. Like, they're looking for 2 attack rounds, and then they'll probably be happy. It doesn't, set anything in motion. It doesn't lock anything in. This was an accident. Is that our first team kill of the SI? That might be.
I don't know about the other stream, but certainly over here it was.
So this was their fighting.
Yeah, just what can you do? Can't do much. Also, another thing to keep in mind there for FEARX was they didn't really do much that round. I feel as though Heretics got bored. And there was a couple times where players maybe stuck their head at the wrong time.
I mean, the first kill that sort of came together was onto Upor, and that was the Blackbeard just fighting people on the window, right? Imagine if that kill had gone the other way, the round would be potentially...
But then that's the risk. But then I feel as though, especially with Grubby getting the first pick, I mean... Do you need to go for that? Do you not just sit in your hands? They weren't doing anything.
It was a C4.
They killed the glass also. Whenever you know you've got the glass gone straight away, okay.
To be fair,
power's gone.
They wouldn't have known that because it was a C4 out of a window.
Yeah.
Unless Ruby had a premonition and went, I've just killed the glass.
Yeah.
I've killed a man with a rifle. 3-2, and credit as well, obviously to the call in the team, but also, hey, they love the coach's words, and they're going to try and double down. 2 more shields for the tally. Rin and Coated are going to see if they can make it happen once again. If it's not broke, don't change it. And remember that thing I said in the first map, when Rin is on form, the form sort of becomes a bit contagious. And they've been able to get themselves up and almost fully repaired a KD that was a little bit sadder after the first map. Still 3-2, and there's that take control of stock. Mephi does go down. Skeptic finishes them off. Here's the roundabout fight either side, but he's caught in the middle. Doesn't want to get caught out by Flexi offering the support. Ruby does get Woogie Man, and wow, this one has fallen a bit apart. Good rotate, good bit of safety, new position, entirely unaware. And Flexi could probably pull this last kill out. Ooh, doesn't quite. Oh, does in the final, but revenge for the last round, Demo.
Yeah, again, FEARX trying to take that upstairs, but Heretics, Roamers, I think, have done very well for them today.
Yep.
It's been more there. Kind of holding on to just sitting in the site. That's where kind of they've struggled with. Whenever this team can get active and go for the roams, I mean, Heretics, they've got gunners. Like, we know that. They can shoot as straight as anyone else.
Well, no, he's on a different team, but...
Doesn't play today.
Oh, right.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
M80 in action. So they'll be, I'm sure, watching both of the Group A games.
Oh, they've got to get it locked in. They're keeping themselves a keen eye. Good boy knows he's about to find a fight, and we'll get a taste of how bored and impatient Heretics can be. They're sort of trying to bait the motion of the player here. Well, that was unfortunate timing. There's the frag, there's the roll, and there's the tuck round on the corner. Groovy still wants the smoke.
Oh, a drop shot.
And then to the drop shot.
That was not one tap. More than one bullet being shot.
Wait, did he say one
Yeah,
tap?
he said one tap.
I thought he said what's up, baby.
No, I think he said one. Did he say one tap?
If he said one tap, then he really struggles to count.
I don't know what he said. Oscar, very serious.
Well, you know him. Very serious guy.
I was speaking to them at breakfast this morning. I said, you know, what's the expectations, guys? Flexi, very level-headed, survived the groups.
That's a good mindset,
Yeah.
you know. And he's played brilliantly today. Flexi's had a brilliant day so far.
Spoke to Oscar,
Yep.
and I quote, "Main stage, baby."
So he said main stage, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, hey, sky's the limit. If you come into this tournament and don't think you're going to win, you've lost. Right? I think I'm going to win the tournament. I might have lost. Laxing's shaking his head at me. Now he's shrugging.
Laxum's
Now
just,
he's
Laxum's just happy to be.
dancing?
Laxum's just happy to be here.
Oh my god, he did a flip. That was really impressive. 4-2. 4-2. And let's see how we get the tail of the rest of this tape put together. Obviously, we've talked about how important the side switch can be. And, you know, 2 shields. Hey, that's great. This worked well for us. What a FEARX ban. 2 shields.
Yeah.
They are not
I
playing
mean,
that
Monty
game.
needs to always get banned
Oh,
from
yeah,
this,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Monty is just... He clears everyone else on the attacks with what he can do on every single bomb site. So, yeah, good bans overall. But, I mean, this for me is the make or break for Heretics. You know, this is the side where it's going to be difficult for them because, one, you have to come back to, it's their permaban. Yeah, and trying to play your permaban without having the prep work done, which, look, they could have worked on it. From the LCQs then out, they could have happily worked on it.
You hope they would.
You hope so.
Because Bank shows up in a lot of best of threes.
But then, whenever we also know that they don't play Lair or Fortress, have they maybe instead worked on one of those two?
They might play Fortress. They haven't yet, but they haven't really had opportunity.
Well, I mean, the fact that they left Bank open out of the other two that they banned, which was Lair and Fortress, it makes you believe that. But we just don't know. No, we don't know. But we will. We will in 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
We'll put it together. We've got spreadsheets for this kind of thing. They'll see if they can try and take some control here. The Fuse shield is going to see if it can operate as that front piece of the puzzle, but unfortunately they only leave themselves a bit puzzled. Skeptic actually takes damage from elsewhere. They sort of went for a bit of a double pinch. You can see Woogieman is making the motion on the far side, but it's Good Boy that gets Groovy, the Scopos, on the roam, on the long-range engagement, and get out of there. Doesn't want to get hacked, doesn't want to get caught out. The calls are coming together. Rin should probably leave as well, and Will, nobody watching currently, but they're being very cautious. They don't want to get caught here on the swing down the stairs itself, and nobody was in position. So instead, it's actually Flexi that gets Woogieman as Good Boy, puts a lot of pressure, because Good Boy still hasn't left. Now they're free, but it really was a few seconds away from danger as Rin gets Oscar.
Still, I think an okay trade for Heretics, mostly because look at the operator that's died. It's the only form of denial, which is very strange whenever we look at a basement as Tachanka being the lone soldier almost out of the set. You know, where's your smoke? Where's your Goyo? Where's your Echo? An operator that we know they love to play. It would have been great for the kind of setup that they're going for with the roamers.
What is... Mephi's just fighting people above the hatch, all right? Good man. Look for the second fight on towards the Fuse. Just shoots, puts pressure. It's a 2 versus 4, but all of this has been a gunfight. And as he said, there's no real denial for the end. There's also now no cover for the approach. You've obviously got a shield. Hasn't used a single Fuse charge. Yupor obviously has 2 tracks, has a grenade, wants to try and single out Rin on the Azami with 5 keepers. No one uses gadgetry anymore. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but they've set themselves up for a fight. Beautiful take, a 3 versus 2.
Doable.
Definitely doable. Oh, definitely doable.
I mean, to be fair, it will be down to you. Porka Skeptic has a shield. Yeah, so he, in terms of killing, not going to be great.
Oh, great.
Oh!
Beautiful play there. The motion on towards that player in the middle. And now a 2 versus 2. They have time as well, and you can see they're still trying to lean into the fights. The Deimos is in one engagement. There's a cover from Gold on towards the other. It's 2 1 versus 1s. Massively isolated, but Yupor saved the tracks for the right moment. And now it's a 1 versus 2 with 13 seconds. Pre-fires the angle. Can't get it locked in! Massive clutch from Heretics.
Yupor, that's it. That's your tweet.
That's the tweet. All the words.
Skeptic, I think, was great in terms of being that kind of bait almost for Yupor, working in that main stairs, dropping the hatch, making it so the Scopos had to run into him almost because he was scared of the Deimos coming down the main stairs. Look, isolated 1v1s, there's no doubt about it. The trade game, pretty poor from FEARX. You know, and he's just swinging off just pure instinct. There's no information there. There's no util being dumped. It is just getting kills with the Deimos. So all credit to you, Poor. He salvaged that round. Skeptic, though, will get the assist.
It was beautiful team play between the pair of them. It was all the sort of team play we talked about. Again, FEARX didn't play that great.
No.
For how well the map sort of started out, losing to Chanka was obviously a big blow, but it just turned into a gunfight. It turned into a brawl. But their positioning was isolatable in 1 versus 1s, whilst the other team hadn't even hit that floor yet, right? The first was a swing onto the door of the bottom of main stairs. The second was a drop from 2 different hatches to isolate the second to get things leveled up. Those are positions that shouldn't be easy to just go, oh yeah, we can get this guy. We can get this guy out of vault on the back end of the site easily. Here's this drop, here's this hatch, here's this cover. And it's just, you know, it's easier for us to say, obviously, but they did not play that brilliantly. And now they're sitting many, many rounds away, and obviously they've used their timeout, so they've just got to play the game ahead of them.
Yeah. Let's cause some chaos. So, the Heretics get that round over the board. I mean, I will say, didn't really see the traditional execute of you know, what we expect to see on a bank basement. Yep. So, in terms of still the general gameplay, not too great here from Heretics, but still, as long as you win the round. I mean, I'm kind of like that. I don't care how it's being played as long as the scoreline ends up in your favor. That's... Oh, you know, I don't care. See that whole has to be perfect siege jump. Just get the win. Yeah. Play messy siege if you have to.
The thing about Siege compared to obviously a lot of other esports games, a lot of other titles, a lot of other shooters is we're a 1-round basis, right? There's no eco, there's no multiple round buy-ins, there's no having to do this. It's we have everything we have at the start of a round. The only thing that really changes is sight lock from the side of the defense. You can bring stuff in for the 3-round period and we're off to the races.
Do they know about the clash in the corner? I think they do. A nade! Oh, well hit its mark. I was worried because I'm seeing the util going in and there's a guy just sat in a corner. But thankfully the nade is there and now they can go for it.
So much ground. They have janitors. They're going for the plant itself, and FEARX, they've just been pushed off their own site. There's been no counter. There's at least one play on the back, but it's a post plant. There's the swing round, an easy pickup for the last player. And that just leaves Coated in the middle. What was that, FEARX?
I mean, that is a smash and grab. You know, that's a heist.
It was easy.
Wow.
It was easy, and it was far too easy, right? FEARX didn't offer any walls. They were obviously had that clash in the corner. They just, I don't know, they've sort of rested now. They found themselves in this position where they felt so far ahead, and momentum is a powerful thing, maybe the most powerful thing for the energy of teams that are sort of tier 2 and trying to make their mark and trying to bring themselves into a showdown. And I mean, it's a little bit rocky right now. And then you look towards Consulate and you've got sort of massive growth from Heretics potentially. Where does it end up? We have ended up in a tech pause.
Yep.
As we get the very ooh music, build the tension, quiz show music.
Oh, I think it'd be more tension if it was like 7-7. I mean,
I'm gonna take a moment early on in this to say how beautiful does all the sets look. It looks gorgeous, gorgeous. The music as well, the violin. Not this.
I like the flowers on the
flowers.
The group graphic. I thought was very
honestly
nice.
I
like that.
The fabric design. There's a really fancy name for that kind of fabric. Like, it's a specific French thing, but I just keep saying it's really lovely fabric, and then our wonderful French team will go, it is da-da-da, and I'm like, fabric.
I wonder if they have socials shown whenever we dress the players up. Has that been shown yet on socials? Because if it hasn't, what do you see them in terms of the theme?
I don't know. Maybe that'll be revealed. Even now, I've actually just had it down my headset of it's called Toile de Vie. Say it one more time, please. Toile de Jouy. Toile de Jouy. They could be telling me to say
that
anything.
Could be
like
anything.
That. I just said I am an idiot.
Oh dear.
In French. I probably deserve that. Anyway, I just want to take a moment here because everything looks so stunning and pretty. And that's still sort of the thing to go for. You and I were actually at the last Paris SI, which was a very different SI.
There wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah, it was obviously during a different time, a different era. And you know, it's great to be back in the city where Siege has such a sort of connection.
Yeah, well, obviously for us as well in terms of Europe. It's where we ran
Europe.
you know, EUL and
Yeah.
Challenger League and all that.
And it was, I believe, both of our first ever SI was Paris. The call up. Anyway, sorry, I'm taking a moment down memory lane.
That's what it's about, isn't it? 10 years.
Huh?
10 years of SIs. This is what it's about, remembering all the SIs.
That's true. We're here for history. Make history. Ooh, that's really pretty as well. Look at the little pop-ups. We get to see UPAW's statistic of how they've been playing throughout this map so far. And, I mean, stepped up. I think it's one of the things, right, of what we were missing from map 1.
Yeah.
In that element when, you know, you get the taste of the full Clubhouse and the full way the team played. UPAW and Skeptic, both of them negative and quite negative.
Well, for UPAW, obviously his history as a player, we've seen him as he was picked up as a sub for Team Secret, I think back in 21, 22 season, whenever it was.
Quite
a long time ago. But in terms of subs, he actually played, I think, for like a full stage.
Yeah.
Didn't do great and was moved on from then. And we haven't really seen him in a tier 1 capacity since. But obviously coming in, you know, tier 3, tier 2, playing in those competitions, and he's made it here to SI.
At this point, as we just wait for everybody, obviously, to get reconvened inside the lobby, we look towards the future, and we look towards the chance at a Consulate. Now, I said you said something at the beginning, which was, it's going to be a free mapper.
Yep.
And then map 1 went, and then I said, what's going on? And you said, it's going to be a 2-mapper. Where are you right now?
See,
where's my demo barometer?
But this always happens, though, isn't it? It's a weird one where both teams will win each other's maps.
Yep.
That does happen more than what you would think. And it's a case here today where I just think Heretics in a 6-2, 4-round gap. I don't see them losing it from here. But then again, I said they wouldn't lose a 5v2 earlier, and that happened, so I don't know.
I think one of the things that is obviously testing us quite a lot, or testing them more than anything, is, well, the setups weren't prepared for, right? In Clubhouse, yeah, there's not a lot of reinventing the wheel you can do. We've made it rounder, congratulations. It's still the same wheel, and FEARX could build into that. They had really very little to work on for Heretics here, and Heretics had time to rebuild. And Bank in EU is a map, is a very strong map, historically.
Because we have had 3 teams who have been absolutely phenomenal in that map.
Exactly.
BP, G2, and of course Val. I mean, Secret as well. 4.
Exactly. And it filters its way down throughout a lot of the EU teams, throughout our tier 2, throughout whatever, because you know you're going to have to play this map a lot, so you try and learn this map a lot. And I think FEARX not really being able to have that data is hurting them quite a bit. It's, you know, fine, they've banned 2 shields, but Heretics haven't needed them on these approaches. They've enjoyed getting into the engagement. Sure, the first round went close, but as I said it, when in the first map we had a lot of clutches go FEARX's way, sometimes those clutches will just lead to bigger and better things, and it doesn't really matter what could have been and what should be. It's what is that matters, and the break comes through on towards Kanto.
Turned into philosopher there for a moment, didn't you?
Yeah. In my old age of my early 30s. Looking at...
Hey, if you say that's old, I'll believe it.
Yeah. Well, I'm told it's old.
Don't tell Tim that.
Well, Tim in his 50s is having a
He's
great
pushing
one.
50, isn't he?
He gets older every time we make a joke. Get rid of the Twitch drone. Groovy was trying to use it to find somebody, and Rin has been found. Ooh, there goes your Keybers, there goes your current best player, and there goes at least that entry statistic once again taken out of their favor. But where will they go next? Good Boy's doing his best to try and find the next engagement, but the Boss G just slips on by. He's going to get caught from behind as well, but he's able to actually get that one dropped out, being blinded. Needs some support from either side, either player. There's Cody getting a C4 coverage. There's one more. Flex against Mephi and misses. The drop on the hatch, he could have had a double, a collateral, but instead, it's a 3 versus 3. Somehow, Good Boy survived, which I couldn't tell you, but I think he did it at the cost of his friends.
Oh, well, that is quite a bit of fun upstairs. I'm shocked that Skeptic didn't get that pick. He was right in front of him. Oh, dear. Now, this is decision-making now for Skeptic. Where does he want to use the pellets? Is he going to opt for going in towards square and then opening up the quad wall and making that a pretty impassable position for the defenders to try and go in towards, or are they going to go for a hatch drop? I mean, they've used the ram onto the areas that you would expect to see being used if you're going to go for the hatch drop, but I think they still just want to do the drone work and kind of say, okay, is this the correct option? Are they weak if we try and go for the kitchen plant? What do we have to work on? And wow, we can see they're using all the Habana pellets in the quad wall. That's going to create the openings. So it will be the kitchen plant. There's 2 smokes from Woogieman. That is it. That's all they have is their denial. 35 seconds? I mean, we need to see them go for a plant at around 25 seconds.
Well, now Good Boy's gone, and it's the 3 versus 2. An easy sort of pick up there. They've got 1 player on the back of the quad wall, 1 player above the hatch, and they don't really feel like they need to leave because they have this gadgetry, the Goya canisters. They have the support. They can try and hold themselves onto it. And you can see Heretics making sure that when they run the maths, everything is clear and concise. 10 seconds left, but they know where the positions of the players are. Throw the flashes in. There's the coverage. There's the drop onto 1. They're trying to close down. It's just coated left. Hiding, holding out. Dropped. Could hit the hatch. No! Opts to pop up, and Groovy gets the last one. He's been the star player for this roster. And he gets himself that map that has been such a rarity for him at SI.
Oh, it's a big one. Big one for Heretics. Both teams taking each other's maps. Where does it put us?
It puts us eyeing up a great 3rd map between these 2 teams. It puts us for the stead of a Consulate, and I think it puts us at a quick break.
After a solid start, BNK FEARX slip down the ladder on Bank. Heretic look very good and a little dangerous going into the further part of this series now as we prepare for map 3. But Fox, I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, I mean, have Heretic taken the learnings from map 1? Is this a new look? Well, how do you look at this?
I mean, it's great that we're going to go to a map 3. They got the win under their belt. I don't really see any changes from map 1. It looked like Heretics played the exact same way. Fundamentally on defense, they were able to take a mass amount of space, slowly stall down, but because of the map, as opposed to Clubhouse, they can play behind the utility. They can run the clock down, adds pressure on FEARX's shoulders. So I don't really think Heretics showed that much addition or change from that loss, but they just played the same game plan and it worked out for them. But to me, that's what I want to see change going into map 3 is Heretics actually showing that they've learned how FEARX are playing.
I will say the decision-making was really good comparatively to what we saw in Clubhouse. But I do want to focus on a player, Upor. I mean, he had a tremendous round in that round 7, being able to essentially bring this back. I mean, again, these are rounds that realistically should never go in a favor of the opposing team when you're in a man disadvantage this way. But Upor just manages to bring kill after kill back and swinging it into their favor. And it was that round in particular where I really started to see the team really come alive, really start getting animated, and then from there it was just a curb stomp throughout the rest of the series. But again, I mean, his name is Upor. It might be a little euphoria at this point. I mean, it was a very exciting play throughout all of this series so far going into map 3. I'm super excited to see what Heretics can bring on into this Consulate. But like you said, it's a matter of, are they learning? Are they applying things? Are they going to do anything different going into Consulate? That's the real big question.
That's what we want to see. I mean, big plays, big individual players. So good for Upor to be able to wake up. It wakes up the whole team when you have big individual players showing up early on. That energy is what carries you through best of 3s, through tournaments. The momentum is definitely necessary. As for Heretics, that's what we're talking about. When we go on to Consulate, we want to be able to see them be able to adapt to FEARX. It's going to be a smaller map than opposed to Clubhouse. It's the same thing. So we don't want to see the same repetition where they're letting FEARX just be able to win in the last couple of seconds. The decision-making is going to be important early game, but it's late game. It's not like Bank. You can't rely on that utility to be able to win rounds out and the time to push FEARX to make mistakes. You have to be able to have fail-safes there in case it's needed.
I think when we're looking at utility, I think in some aspect you can use it to your advantage to slow down the time, especially if you're on defense, to dwindle down that time, play back, play more a defensive game where you can get aggressive early and, like I said, play off that utility. But it's a bigger question is, are they going to do that? I think what they did very well on Bank was able to use the map in their favor, get aggressive, get opening picks going in their favor. And not to say that, you know, FEARX didn't actually do a little bit of their own due diligence, droning some players out, playing a little sloppy. I think it will be cleaned up going into Consulate. But I really do want to see a little tempo shift coming out of the side of Heretics, not just solely relying on one play to the other, but just really developing throughout the series.
Well, we're going to Consulate now. Like, how do you feel about this map, Fox? Because, like, especially, I can speak for APAC, okay? I can really speak for APAC because I've watched way too much of their Siege. Consulate feels like the map that gets picked in a best of 3 where a team has let it float through, but aren't 100% confident on it, right? So many times in APAC have we seen good teams go to Consulate and bottle their attacks. How do you see this playing out in this series?
I mean, we're hoping that if, as an APAC fan, that FEARX is able to at least understand there's so many layers. Heretics is winning their attacks based off of getting that opening kill, and that's where we see the FEARX flaws, where they just bleed kill after kill. We need the success that they had in map 1 to come back, because essentially what worked, Woogieman, Mephi, being able to get those opening kills, they wouldn't die in the opening trade, and they'd be able to continue steamrolling. So FEARX need to make sure, with starting on defense in this map, that they're not letting opening kills hemorrhage for themselves and making sure that they use Heretics attacks against them. Use the time, use the different floors. That's FEARX's game plan.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to back it up as an APAC fan, but honestly, Heretic, they have a very good storyline going into this SI, so I really don't care where it goes, but I know where it's exactly going to go, into the capable hands of Emmy and Fluke.
Emmy and Fluke?
Oh, I've ruined it. I've ruined it. Get out of the shot.
Hi, welcome to Emmy and Fluke Hour. It's just me and these 3 tiny little lads down here. You want to stay there? I feel like when they're down here, you should pitch their voices up, production. Anyway, Demi, you can come back.
Do the thing.
What thing?
What were you showing? What should I do before?
Oh, do that.
That is. What? Can I go? I don't want. Can I go back?
Because he looks like a baby. He looks like a big baby.
Both leave. Bye. No. Okay. I think we should get rid of them so that thing never happens. Thank you, production. Instead, Do the thing. Do the thing.
He's banned. I don't want to see him on our screen again.
Do the thing. Look at our fickle audience now.
Back and forth, wasn't it? It was they backed Heretics in the first, then they backed FEARX. Now it's back to Heretics.
Listen, it feels like it, and let's see where it goes. Where are we going? That's where we're going, in towards Consulate here. Now, only one of these two teams can walk away with a win. Will Groovy, at his third SI, finally find a first series win. Has only lost, unfortunately, before. This could be the chance. Or will FEARX get themselves off, do a bit of a rip-roaring start, and get themselves a win off the book?
Well, Consulate the map. I think it's an interesting one whenever we look at both the teams, because it's a map that both of them will play. It's a map that both of them have played in the most recent kind of tournament both of them have played in. Obviously, close quals for the LCQs for Heretics, where they actually played it twice on their run to make in the spot. And they played it also in the final of against Twisted Minds. They lost that 8-6, but then they had also beaten VP on it 8-6 beforehand too. So it is
two very good
close.
Teams.
And then if we look over on the side of FEARX, it was an 8-7 game for them inside of there. So I think what it's trying to tell us is there should be an overtime in this game.
I would love a spicy overtime. I would love to open our first series, your and I casting first series, the first series on Stream A, with a cheeky all the way overtime. But that's down to these teams to actually piece together, and it's starting with FEARX on defense. Now, not going for the double shield removal. When Consulate first was introduced back in towards the pool with the changes, the big meta that was especially around Korea, but also the sort of APAC scene on a greater scheme, was shields dropping in top yellow, sometimes 3, which was something that FEARX loved to do. And I feel like Heretics should and will probably respect that. Themselves don't expect it. Get rid of, in your opinion, Demo, I'm going to put you on the mantle of defending your opinions, Grim, the best operator in the game.
Not even a second.
Break it down for the people. Break it down for the people.
Basically, you Grim, with the changes that happened, I believe it was in November, whenever we've seen that, you know, the patch come in. Basically, Grim don't really care about Mute anymore. And the only counter off your Grim is going to be the Vigil, which again, only works for one person. So is an operator that you are 99% of the time always going to get value from, which is just so incredible to know you have that to rely on. And of course, on this map, whenever we do have quite a lot of positions where you can try and go for blind spot plants, you think about the single window over towards the CEO front desk. Again, firing Grims in, it just stops anyone challenging you as you go for the plant, just because you can see them. Yeah, it's so easy for the attackers. So yeah, getting rid of that, great ban from FEARX. Now, looking at the setup so far, I think from Heretics, you usually have two options. You can either go towards the B-bomb site, or you shift over for your open area and your admin take. And I think they're going to go for the admin take. So they're going to try and get themselves cleared and then move over toward kitchen and then try and plant generally on your door in towards meeting. So that's where we are.
Well, Flexy's been able to get himself up towards Coffin pretty much unchallenged. He's the sole player here, but at the same time, it's been handed to them. There's nobody currently playing the vending machine position. Mephi has pulled away, which is that massive crossroads, a massive utility burn. That's where you're going to try and want to put your flashes, your pressure, and any frag grenades that you have, but they've only really got one left. Ooh,
almost. I don't really blame him for not playing towards vending because he has like no util to stop an aid.
Oh! Oh, well, there's the catch on towards one. Oscar's able to get the kill, swung round, they trusted it. There's at least trades back either side. The spiral has fallen towards their favor, but the man advantage is just further and further in towards the control here of Heretics. FEARX! They are sort of shaking in their namesake right now as Heretics just swung and danced in towards the site itself. Where were they?
Now that is a round where obviously they have seen an opportunity and they have just went for the throat. No doubt about it. That person pushing in for the single reinforcement picks up that kill. You've killed the player in the middle of the bomb site and it's just total panic stations. Total Total panic stations from FEARX, had no idea where Heretics were going from. They thought it was going to be over towards admin. We've seen Flexi get in there earlier. But no, it was the bait. They seen the opportunity, and then they hit them on the other side of the map. They hit themselves in through CEO.
What destroyed that?
It was the player, Flexi, destroyed it. As it was tossed over, it hit the railing.
Ah, okay.
So that's where that came from. But as soon as Oscar was in that position, you could see that everyone jumped on that opportunity. They opportunity spotted, said, look, this area is really weak. If we can slip a guy in, eliminate the meeting player, they'll have our backs turned, and the guys flooding in for yellow will pick up their kills. And that's exactly what happened. And again, I think that comes down to Oscar winning that engagement, winning that kill. And obviously, Grubby's shot call had to be, because that's like a typical Grubby. Grubby isn't the main IGL. I believe that falls on the side of Skeptic. But I can assure you, whenever it comes to attacking and shot calling mid-round, if he sees something, Grubby is very, very good at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the way that it sort of was put to us in terms of the document was Skeptic is the acting IGL.
Yeah.
Oscar playing the sort of support role, Upor on the entry role, and then Flex, which is, you know, as wide as a role you can make it. You can have players like Grubby as a Flex, and then you can have players like Sexy Cake as a Flex, whose flexing is very different towards that element. But either way, here's the first track. They're trying to clear the player out of user and admin. They're just getting themselves in and actually trying to get quite aggressive here. They want to take both stories at the same time, and it's Rin that's suffering the track on the first fight as the Deimos just a hunting step for step.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. The Deimos has been a big talking point, I feel, for Heretics. It's been an operator they've always decided to bring in. Well, the Dokkaebi, another great roar. I mean, you've lost the Dokkaebi, you've lost the Blackbeard, two incredible operators that we're well aware of, Emmy, and he just keeps going.
He just keeps going. Good boy. Gets himself Upor. Hasn't left the office. This man is a 9 to 5, and you bet he's clocking in the hours. Finally tries to slip away, but at what great cost? Pretty much the whole team. Grubby finally gets the end of it, but think about the site. Think about what's been got. Rin, lucky to be alive there. And that could have started to tweak things, but a minute 20, right? They've got the chance of getting some hard breach. They've still, I believe, got to put pressure on towards the garage wall. I don't think that's open at this point, so they're just looking for a drop. We do not want to see a repeat here, Demo, of what happened in the 4 versus 2 on Bank, though.
Yeah, that's one thing. We know both teams, they have each, I believe, choked at kind of unlosable rounds.
Yeah.
Somehow they've made it happen. But, I mean, this is very difficult, though. And the reason why it's difficult is there's still a lot of C4s that you have to try and work your way through. So in terms of getting a plant down, I just don't see that happening. If they are going to win, it's going to be down to just playing kills. But then that would also have to involve FEARX over-swinging, which we always give them, professional team, the benefit of the doubt. They should know better.
So they have somebody watching just from the bottom of yellow stairs here as well with a shotgun. They could try and isolate this player and get them out, but if they don't know about him and he goes to retake the vertical, I think they know about him. Or they don't know about him! Mephi locked, loaded, and ready to go. Skeptic caught in a corner. They're well aware of the position. Still gets coated. Where's that shotgun? You're waiting for it, but maybe they've just gone to watch the verticality. 20 seconds. And there it is. Woogieman gets the final kill. And FEARX, built on the brilliant work by Good Boy, get the round.
Yeah, just a solo roam. And I think the main issue there from Heretics is they did not trade the kill quick enough.
No.
Yeah. I think that the main kicker was probably that Blackbeard dying. That, again, should not be happening. Blackbeard, we know how good the shields can be. It was actually a case of he killed him because the shield was coming up the stairs. And because, again, elevation is a thing that exists in the world. Mm-hmm. He can see over the shield onto the top of his head and shoot.
I mean, it's one of those things where you can sort of spray that gun down. You're in close quarters connection. We knew that there was obviously the swing chance at the player coming through and just finding that moment, that second to score. Yeah, it was a great take. But at this point, 20 seconds, a single door is your point of entry. And you know there's players behind you. What else can you really do? Well, what we can do is keep ourselves rotating around. And
I think I just heard Flexi say, we're peaking 1 by 1.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and that is the case of what happened to that vigil.
I mean, and remember, as I sort of said at the start of that round, the 4 versus 2 that came together on the previous map on Bank, they were so good at isolating those engagements, right? There was the one that was the swing, then there was the cross-cut, then there was the drop-down, and they just made sure that there was always the extra man, as you said, as they said.
It's probably the first time they struggled with roamers. I thought they've dealt with roamers on Clubhouse and Bike pretty well for the majority of this series. And that's the first time that just one roamer has caused them to lose a round. Weird.
Well, we fall into another very quick tech pause. We'll be back, obviously, in the game in just a moment. And it gives both teams a chance to breathe, really, because obviously it's sort of one round apiece. We know how this is shaped together. We know how these teams have sort of hit heads so far. There was one round that was very strongly in the favor off of, as you said, great shot calling, great motion by the attackers, by Heretics. And then on the other side of that round, good boy, they just could not find the coordination to get rid of him. And, you know, with how good they are at that game, but also the operator selections that they love to sort of tend to go with, where you have the Deimos, you have the Dokkaebi, you have so much, you have more than enough.
Yeah, you have, yes, to deal with it, of course.
And he is on soft floor up there as well for most of those positions that he was running around on. And they knew that they had Visa below. They were sort of looking up towards it. And, well, it's whatever. It's in the past. It's in the past. Take a breath.
Taking a breath.
Take a breath.
Help me. Look, I think whenever it comes to Consulate, naturally, I think most people would be obliged to say, yeah, defense should kind of run amok here. In the same way we kind of look at Cafe as well. I think there are some, I would call, crazy people who prefer the Consulate attacks over the defense, which you're a lunatic if you believe that. I think it's such a difficult map to attack because the flow of it is always getting into the building is very difficult. And especially whenever we know that a defensive side, like Heretics, when we see them in the defense, they will be so aggressive and they will stop you getting into that building. They will spawn peek, they will swing open doors, swing open windows, just to make your life a misery. And that's why I hate attacking it, because if you come against a team like that, it's horrible.
Now, obviously, in terms of how this progresses for the rest of them, we talk about there's M80, sitting, watching, waiting, not having to play today. Tomorrow, it's Heretics go. Tomorrow is their day off, and they get a chance to sort of take a breath, as we just did between then, after the games today.
Who are they against day 3?
Day 3, they are up against NIP.
Okay.
M80 and Weibo will be hitting heads at the same time. But on that day, it's FEARX's time to rest. Yeah. FEARX are then the team that follows. So both these two teams will get their gap there.
This is always a good little debate. When would you like to have the off day? You know, that's what some teams like to talk about, isn't it?
I think not the first day. I think a team like M80, fine, because they're M80, right? They're gonna hit this group running.
Yeah.
But other teams get warm-ups. They get that first jitters. For a nervous team, you want to be on the day where everybody's nervous. You don't want to show up to the party late and be like, "This is my first party. I don't know what to do at a party." I hate it when that happens.
I would be on the side of just give me 4 straight days in a row.
4 straight days in a row.
Either you give me the first day off or the last. Yeah, as long as I am consistently playing every day, I'm happy.
And then you have 2 days between the stages, I believe. And then there's gaps, there's time. Anyway, we're back in. Thank you for bearing with us. Bear with us. We have now similar sort of things. As I said before, this is the game that Heretics could and should be good at. You've got your Deimos, you've got your Dokkaebi, you need to be tracking people down. What else have you got? A Lion now, with recent Lion changes.
Yeah, very, very strong. 3 seconds now. The scan will go off rather than the 2. And I can assure you that second, it may not feel like a big change.
Yeah.
Playing with it, it is big. Yeah, that 3-second change. Because one, I think muscle memory comes into it. Everyone knows, oh, I know how to wait 2 seconds off muscle memory. Yeah. Just that little bit of extra now puts you in a much more precarious position. It will take a while for players to kind of hop onto it. But still, 3 seconds without moving, it is a lot. Especially whenever you have so many scans.
So, seems like a similar sort of hold before. Boogeyman is hurt, but still standing. They've got themselves the single ball open, and now they're putting pressure on towards Admin on the opposite side. There is the chance that the keeper's building up, but they gave this territory away for free last time, and it allowed Heretics to focus what they wanted.
Yeah, this one thing about FEARX, they're not playing into the util denial. We're so used to that vending position stacked with Kibas, ADSs, Wamai Disc, a Runegate, the full shebang, but just not interested. I mean, they're playing very loose with their operator selection. A lot of denial, obviously, to stop any single windows coming, which, yeah, I agree with. I respect it, but just think with the util dump over toward vending, I just think it's so important to control that part of the map. But just giving that up with only just, the one guy with Kibas, it's not enough.
At this point now, the Deimos is underneath, trying to put pressure, and it forces all of the players to maybe the only real bit close to the sites on the sandwich side of where you can stand without the Deimos putting the pressure on from underneath. Instead, pushes them towards Spiral. Mephi still holding on to the vending machine position here as the man that's about to get pinched. How much utility they can grow his way? They have the grenades, they have the util and the wherewithal. They just need to make sure that they can do it together. There's the grenade, there's the motion, there's blind and survival, but you feel like it's just going to follow in a second. There's actually Flexi getting the first one towards Coated. It's trade back and forth. They're holding on for now. Skeptics moved his way into the site and got knocked off either side, but it's turned into a 2 versus 3. Woogieman holding on towards one side. Good Boys trying to get Upor in the middle of them. It's actually a back and forth and almost does just get the tail end of the player, but 30 seconds. They're calming down, and Oscar is going for the plant. He's in the default position. They can't get their way all the way around to him. Good Boy's actually been able to find a slink and a little bit of a route. Has the fire if he wants. There's the attempt on the plant once again. Bouncing it over the top, but he's got to go for the quick reload. The damage won't be enough. He's going to stick the plant, but he gets caught out. By the end of it, it's a post-plant situation, 2 versus 2. However, this is a very tricky position, and he had to take the fight, but he couldn't quite win it out. Groovy gets one, gets himself further away, and he's going to look for the machine pistol kills. Look how far back.
Yeah, good.
They have pulled. They are not leaving this up towards Chance. Holding on. Groovy's coming up the stairs, and he's getting the last of the round.
Good patience there from Grubby as well. Knows that the guy's going to have to swing. He's going to have to go aggro and get a kill back before he attempts that defuse. So yeah, good positioning. Overall, I think it's what I thought would happen whenever you're playing vending with just Akiba. The guy got rinsed immediately.
If the Shumika launcher was reloaded, wouldn't have been able to get the plant. Maybe.
I still think it's a tricky position. Mostly because Oscar has legs and could simply just walk in and shoot the guy if needed. But Oscar knew he could tank it because he took so long getting that first Molotov in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we went back and forth in a much more violent round than what we'd sort of had on either of the first two, right? The first round was all Heretics, the second all FEARX, and now, well, it ends up on the side of Heretics, but
he's been very upbeat today, Grubby, do you not think? He has been, every round it's so positive, keep it going, and that's, I think, the kind of player that, obviously for a team, players who've never played at this level, you need that.
Yes. Yeah, of course. You have to be able to try and get your head up, especially when you know you're coming into a coliseum that you have only failed in, right? And on a big roster, it was for a long time heralded as being the next up-and-coming EML team and the next sort of big thing, and they couldn't quite make it work on international stages. We'd get there and be like, no, they're great, we promise, they're great, and then they fall apart. They made a roster change. We've seen how good Secret has become after the change, obviously, in the year that they've had.
The roster's moves and, the players that they picked up, very clever with the business that they went for.
Yep. But now you get the other side of it. If Groovy doesn't have those pressures on him as a player, he doesn't have
he can't blame Savage if he loses that. He can't say, well, Savage is his fault.
He cannot. Another tech pause. We have to be back in. But again, it's a much more competitive round from both teams. Both teams were sort of making sure that they could meet their mark. There was good lessons learned, I think it's fair to say, because the stuff that we pointed out about both teams and they pointed out about themselves, things like don't just give them free real estate, try and hold it down. Got a kill from the position, took a lot of utility and time away from them. And then also, don't go for individual fights. Don't go for your 1 versus 1s. Do a 2 versus 1. Build as a team. Use your stuff in your pockets.
Yeah. I think overall, the siege, the structure, especially the quick adaptations where they've kind of hit the bomb site within about, a minute, 30-minute mark.
Yep.
I think Heretics have been great with that. Look, there are still basic issues that we've seen, especially in Clubhouse. You know, not being able to open up walls, not being able to
100%.
use a Thatcher gadget correctly, throwing a 5v2 that should never be happening. There is still, of course, signs there that shows, yes, they're still inexperienced. But I think overall, we've seen a lot worse from teams. I think that's the best way to put it. It's not a bad showing for their first game. And like we mentioned, if you get one win, that could be enough to get you out of groups. That's so important for this team.
If these two teams, whoever wins this game, if both these teams then go on to lose to every other team, you could still, it could be just decided by this one series. And you don't want to think like that, but you have to think like that.
But it does happen, because you have to be real sometimes.
You have to be real sometimes. And be Oscar, aim for main stage.
Baby, don't forget about that bit.
Baby.
You have to
be
correctly.
Be flexy, be realistic.
Yeah.
And
I love the way as well, if Flex didn't say, get out of groups, survive the group. Like, he's used specifically survive.
Current objective. Survive. And just a picture.
But I think that from Flexi, it's realistic. You have to remember what they're up against. You think about the experience of some of the teams.
Oh, 100%.
You know, I like that mindset. You do have to be a realist sometimes.
If you're not, then you're living in a fantasy world, and this isn't a fantasy game. This is a tactical, realistic
I like a
shooting
fantasy
game.
sometimes. I remember I said G2 were going to win SI23. I was living in Cuckoo Land.
Yeah.
It worked out for me, so I'm not complaining.
You were correct. Do you think they're going to win this one? Hot take, day one. We smash cut production. We smash cut towards the day of the finals. It's map point, map 5.
We'll see, because the team's hurt me in the past. But things have been good this year, I will say that much. And as long as they keep a little stomping happy, I think they're in with a shot. Main thing.
We can talk about the photo shoots, because we saw them on broadcast. How cool. You didn't do one.
I didn't do one.
You refused to do one.
Would have broke the camera if I did one.
Oh, because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
After they did all the player one, the on-air crew were able to do some as well. And let me tell you, they're great. They're great. They're great photos. I think we should have got all of the crew to do them. I want to see our producers rocking those 70s looks. Is it 70s? Is it Parisian chic? How would you describe the look?
For one more part. I want to say some things here. Let's go piano safe. Fuck up if they see any figure or not, guys. They don't know how we're gonna play. Because if they want to play Supion, I want to be over the round of Supion, okay? So piano safe. Guys, about the other rounds we losing CO. If they're playing something split, guys, you guys cannot hold everything, you know? Give area, you know? Give soda. Play just for CO side. If they want to play, they have a Tachanka. One guy can go wide, it's like to kill the plant, you know? If it's too much split, it's hard to hold everything, right? But we're not gonna play CO right now, so let's go for piano safe. After that, try on one garage. But if you need to play more CO in this game, thinking about that, but one more thing. I think in CO, if you go one time, they're not gonna repeat team attack. They're gonna play for yellow side, like a BB and glass, something like that, you know? But now, piano safe. Change operator.
You okay?
We were straight back into a timeout there. I was taken by surprise. I was talking nonsense about Parisian chic fashion. All right, what's your thoughts? What's your breakdown?
I must say, Dark, I'm loving the timeouts.
Yeah.
Really, really sharp. If you don't know who Dark is, he was, I believe, the assistant coach for FaZe at one point, I think back in his early days. That's where he started off. And then he got a role inside of Korea, and I think he's done wonders with that team. You know, you think the team that he's produced and being able to make, again, this super team that we keep talking about. So yeah, big fan. I think that timeout, very good. Straight away tells them, guys, we're going to play piano. We're going to go safe. Just play basic stuff. We'll be fine. Then obviously you mentioned with the rounds that they lost, CEO, he feels as though his side is trying to control too much of the map. Where whenever Heretics are playing that split theory, where they're trying to control everything as well, there's just too much pressure that Heretics are kind of having. And whenever they're so kind of split up from one another and they're not really in positions to trade because they're trying to hold so much, that's where they keep getting overlapped. Because they're essentially going into gunfights in a 1v2 because Heretics are always with a buddy. So I like the approach. Play tighter, give space if needed, let them sweat, use the Chanka if needed. Yeah, good timeout overall. See if his team can put that into reality.
So, we'll find out in just a moment as we go back in. I was just having a quick scroll of everything, and technically coming into this, based on the Liquipedia listings of people involved in the teams, there are only 2 teams at Six Invitational that do not have, at least in some way, a Brazilian related to the team, whether a player, a coach, or an Analyst, only 2 teams do not have a Brazilian. Now, I'll give it a second.
I feel as though
Chat.
I feel as though I could guess, but maybe
Let chat guess first. Chat, if you can work it out without looking, which 2 teams do not have a Brazilian? You're looking at my notes.
No, but I had an idea of who it would
right.
have been.
Okay, that's time passed. If you guessed Daystar
Yep.
and Enterprise, you're correct.
Yep.
That is it. Every single other team. And it just shows how impactful. I just wanted to make a note of that now. It shows how impactful, obviously, the region of Siege there is, that it is in every region of Siege. In some cases, full export rosters, but Dark was, I believe, the first that made the big jump towards APAC
Yeah.
and that side of the world as a sort of coach and as a sort of figure. And what a trendsetter, right?
Yeah. He was there to say, guys, it's okay. It's safe here. You can bring the rest of them. And then 2 teams come out of nowhere.
They like set him over.
Yeah.
They welcomed him in. And then
Recon mission. How was it?
Oh, honestly,
Get the bags packed. We're over here, fellas. We can make a name for ourselves.
to spend some time in Korea, I'd love that. I'm a terrible coach. I'm not Brazilian. I can't fulfill the great work that they've done. But I just want to spend some time out there, you know. See Korea. Anyway, thank you for bearing with us. So we had the timeout in the middle of that. We talked about how good the timeout was. We talked about the mentality. It was very much on a sort of round-to-round basis, but it's hold on towards piano, right? That's the sort of lock-in that we get. And what we also get here from this selection of operators, to mine eyes doth deceive me, verticality. You've got the Solus, you've got the Pulse, you've got an idea of what they want to do there, which is they could either play above, right, and try and keep it locked down and put the pressure on, but if needed, could be mobile up and down.
Yeah, it could be both. I think Solus above, Pulse below.
Yep.
Makes the most logical sense. Solus, I think, is very good on Consulate. Whenever there is a lot of information that you can gain just right from the get-go. And whenever we talk about Consulate, and we're kind of used to you take either one side, which is your admin, or over towards yellow. If you can see the drones, you know, people hop on cameras straight away, you'll know what the take is going to go for. And I suppose the same can be said for Pulse. Pulse can sit all the way down inside a server, for example, and he can actually pulse and see players on the windows of admin. So you can call out how many players are on the windows, and then you can also hit them with a C4 from here. So there's a lot of potential.
Boogeyman almost just got a stray bullet from somebody spraying through the doors. But yeah, Pulse and Consulate is a story. Even in the original Consulate, the sort of original map setup was well known.
Yeah, this was,
it's because you just get a whole side. You get a whole side, you get multiple stories, and you get it.
Then you do the little rotate up at the Visa stairs, and you see 4 of the guys as they're...
It's classic. It's beautiful. Anyway, what we have here is a bit of a play, but this is where things might work for Heretics, because we know when they're on their game, they're great at isolating engagements. They forced at least a player out of Visa, suffered from damage either side, though, as Upor gets a bit of a scrape from the second story. They think someone might still be in that corner, but he's actually been able to get the rotate.
Are they going to try and walk into sight here and just completely ignore the extension? I mean, look at where Oscar and Grubby's got themselves into. They're right into the heart of the map. They're inside a lounge, and the castle's trying to come around, but he's lost Grubby! Now it's just Oscar in the corner! He's being attacked!
Flexi, though, in the meantime, he's doing his best to hold on. They have some space. It's still a brawl right in the core of it. Dropping shield, drawing attention, drops with the pistol. Everyone's taking little scraps of damage, but nobody can get the full feast. Slips his way right into Upor's waiting gun, though, and saving Private Oscar. That was a multi-million-dollar piece. Now, a minute 20 on towards the board left. It's a 4 versus 3. They've lost out on Rin. They've lost out on Mephi, and an opportunity to get rid of this Monty. What can they do?
Well, 2 options still. You have the Source above, and you have the Pulse below. So the denial is still there. It's still not out of the woods yet. For Heretics, they've been able to gain control of the mid floor, but that's not the issue. It's top and bottom they need to clear.
So the Monty with the kit has the awareness of that player, and you can see the Pulse underneath, waiting patiently. The
Look on a sledge
is going for the position,
Brilliant.
and there's the plant. Oh, but he can't quite get the angle. He's going to try and loop it round. He's too late. The C4 does connect to at least one. They're Skeptic getting Good Boy back, though. And now they've got to go for this retake. Coated swings his way down the stairs, caught out from the waiting. They're on the window as well. Coated! Okay, doesn't get that one though. More than ready for that fight. The flashes come out, they're just buying time here. And it's the right move because you know he's got to get the player up. And at this point, crawling his way through on towards the barb, 18 seconds. They're going to have to try and get between the pair of them. They've got themselves into an aggressive position. Skeptic has one and Flexi has the other. And I mean, we wanted an intense tight round. And for a long minute, that was just a fight in the middle.
You are playing with fire with what they were doing inside the lounge. I mean, bold move. Not looking to challenge the roamers, not really establish control if you were downstairs or the top floor. They just thought, let's just go straight down the middle and into the mid floor. It was a brawl. They made it work somehow. I mean, Oscar, let's be real. Should be dead. Should be dead.
And even, like, I mean, doing their best, fine. The cover.
The bit that I want to pick up on, which I thought was genius, they know about the pulse. Pulse is obvious, yeah? They know he's there. You know if you're going to be planting in piano, that C4 is an issue. What do? In the middle of the bomb site, they start sledging the pulse to stop him getting into a position to C4. I love it.
Narrow margins maketh the round. Heretics. They now have a 2-round buffer and 3 attacks on towards this side. As I said it multiple times, the defense is where FEARX usually shines brighter. And unfortunately, they're just being a little bit snuffed out right now. They can't quite get themselves into that trade of energy. They've struggled on Consulate before and recently. They're not quite getting themselves the decent momentum, but it's all building up here for Heretics. And we said it after map 1, right? All the players have potential to pop off, but nobody has been able to. This time's good, boy. There's the break going on towards the mirror window. They're going for the trick. The Nitro obviously got shot out, but the Bandit on towards the exothermic. Ooh, how much of this is just going to be juggling? How much has been cost so far? They're not going to keep going. They've still got all 3 exothermics.
Yeah, he still has 1 nade Upor, so still clear away the Bandit charges if they do get placed down again. But I think that's more of a later stage kind of job. However, just the guy on yellow has been able to pick off Grubby. I mean,
Just hanging out.
typically that gets drone, but maybe that's something that they've missed. And
It's also Grubby. He might have just wanted to go for the engagement.
yeah, that
and
does sound like him.
I'm
not going to defend. Look,
No, he was 7-2 up to that point. It makes sense for the track. And at this point now, they don't have the Dockerby, they don't have those calls, and they don't have their Breacher anymore.
Oh,
good
dear.
night, Skeptic. And now, they've just got to try and send it in.
I mean, surely they could have just opened up the breach.
Yeah, they could have with more utility.
Because there was nothing really there. They just nade the Bandit and that's it. Like, sure, maybe fearing that the mirror window is going to be popped, but still get that opened up, still get that popped, so at least you still have technically the breach is kind of open. But if that mirror window hasn't been popped, it's still like just fully shut. So not a great position for Heretics to be in.
Good Boy, I think, is still around the top floor as well. Yes, he's just off on one. And he is going to be the backstab potential right now. They know that the players have to try and put their pressure down below. They're running low on time. They're still going for the clear. The Ponzi is just trying to find a fight here. Solo pushing Oscar, sending it. They've recollected the kit outside the far side. Now they've got to try and build themselves up for a take on the back because they're not going for the breach. They can't. So it's down spiral with one, just trying to slink their way past the players on either side. They know fully well where the Monty is. Good Boy, there's the backstab, gets Upor. And now it's just bullying a shield. Does find one, does find Good Boy. And a Glaz alone with 40 seconds. I bet we're going to see Zeds posted by probably Matthew.
I think Flexi's going to have a punt.
No, I think he will, but that doesn't change the energy that they've brought towards the game today. It's going to have a close firefight here with Good Boy. He's stepped up on the door. As I said, though, this is the sort of problem, right? Good Boy's having a great game. Or a great map even, but it's been, you know, it wasn't enough last map for just Rin, right?
Yeah. I mean, basic stuff. Feel for Heretics, same way that we've talked about them. Again, breaches. That's happened again. Can't get the breach open successfully.
Yeah.
You know? But, and then losing Grubby again doesn't help. Dokkaebi would have been great there, deal with that roaming presence in towards server. Just that kind of chain reaction, I feel, just kind of caught out Heretics. And I think Grubby, you know, it is unlucky. Yes, those things happen, but still, needs to try and square things up if they want to try and take a positive half out of this attack. opportunity to go 4-2 on the half would be exceptional.
I mean, with how FEARX have struggled with their attacks today and in general, I think that would be one of the things that would sort of set this game in the rest of the motion. I think there's always the chance that Heretics have already done enough.
Yeah, especially because we know on the defense these are going to be running around like vermin.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be causing...
Get the pest control in for these.
They're going to be causing problems.
Oh.
And do you know what I think Heretics are going to do? At least a double shield ban. As their sort of opening maneuver, because they know FEARX...
They'll crutch on that. They'll come back to that at some point.
They will. 100% they will. I said it at the start of the map. It's been sort of proven... There's always the chance that Heretics don't because they think that they can take the fight. They love moving.
It's more the case of, I think, with the way the attackers are, yes, you would love to ban the double shield, but then you leave yourself open to a Grim and a Ying.
You do.
So I think the bans are in a very tricky position. So that's why being good at shields, it then limits other options. Everyone can play Grim and Ying, not everyone can play shields. And if you can, just adds more arrows to your quiver.
Now, talking of a shield with the crutch, Oscar, third round in a row, and
leave him alone. Someone has to do the job. He doesn't like it, but somebody has to.
I mean, we've already complimented him enough and what he's been able to bring to this roster when he joined, right? It was this joined. Oh, they're at SI.
Yeah.
It's been a meteoric run, and you know some of the other names who have had that sort of impact. People like Benjamin Master from Once Upon a Time,
and the change for me, yeah. SI.
So you're looking at always having that potential of a spark lighting the kindling that turns into the fire that lifts a hammer. It happens. That's not how it starts, though. Flexi gets caught out by Rin, out and about, enjoying taking the first kill. And then we don't have the drive of the Monty in towards this core point, where instead are they going to try and focus their attention to the top floor. Yeah,
very loose hold, I feel, for FEARX. I mean, they're just kind of here, there, and everywhere, looking for the roam, a quick jump in, and again, the Monty trying to block off the door, Oscar! Oh, what a Pavlova!
Oh no, it's all falling apart. Groovy, first gone last time, last one stood, does get good boy, but I think he'll have to be gifted the rest of this round for it to go into his favor. And he isn't. Coated locks it in, as does FEARX for the last 2 rounds there. That felt like a very different FEARX towards the team in the middle. And it also felt like a very different Heretics, too.
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, that's actually not bad for FEARX. All of a sudden, it's fair game now. It's 3 rounds apiece. Heretics looked as though they were building really good momentum, and then just those last 2 rounds, just gone with a blink of an eye. I mean, that round, especially, how quick was that round to see that be ended in the way that it did? So, side switch. Who will this favor? That's the question now. Heretics, again, like I mentioned, I think they're going to be pretty aggro. Going to try and get active and put a lot of pain into the backside of FEARX. And look, this is what I mean. You either go for the Ying and you go for the Grim, or you go for the shields.
You was right.
There's the Ying. Should be the Grim.
Technically, there's also a shield, but I just want to be right.
Should be the Grim. So you've got the shields. There you are. That's it.
The limitation of the Warden as well. It sort of heralds a bit of an idea of what they want to do. Warden isn't as impactful as he has been in previous metas, but in the right hands, against especially the right approaches, well, now you're looking at a lot of glass, a lot of sense, a lot of these let's cut covers.
Oh dear, you've made the foolish mistake.
Oh no.
You've mentioned about the glass and the Warden. This is the biggest myth, and I'm going to put an end to it now.
Maybe I was just propping you up.
Before.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the myth.
I'm such a good co-guy.
Okay. Whenever it comes to the discussion of Glass versus Warden, Glass wins every time.
Every time?
Every time.
Every time.
Okay? And the reason why, Warden does not get his glasses on as quickly as Glass's scope comes up.
It's true.
That's the way it works. So whenever people go, if they've got the glass, no. Because the glass will always see you before you see him. That's the way it works. Unless you're prepped with your glasses on, standing still, already looking at a position, you're not winning that. But I will say Warden would be very good, though, against FEARX, who we know like to bring a lot of flashbangs as their kind of general utility.
They do. They get them sort of out. They get them... locked in. I learned what they call flashbangs in Korean because of content that I can't talk about right now, but it will come up and you'll all hear it. And
okay.
But it was filmed yesterday. It was great. And there was maybe some math that they had to do, which is more fun than it sounds, guys. The content's great.
We've got stellar content. We're going to be teaching you how to
We're learning how to count. Anyway, that's so far beyond the point. The point is here, actually, or is it just above here? The Deimos is going to see if he can try and get some of the verticality, get some of this pressure and force the players out. You can see the first track is on the Tachanka.
Good person to target.
We talked about how this works before. There's
Got eyes on him.
Oh my. Good boy's in, and he's out straight away. But the plant is a bait. It's a bait to try and
Upor's
get the
under! Upor can't quite get the resist, and he finally does! Oh, that was so close! Coated, though, gets the kill. However, Coated gets another. It's a 3 versus 2. Gets the verticality, but this is a very strange place that we're in. The art is on the walls, and it's a 3 versus 2 with almost 2 minutes left.
Okay. Oh dear. I was going to say, now we slow things down, FEARX, and we play a 3v2. However, Oscar has somehow just got a pick of a guy standing immobilized. Oh, the window didn't even move, just stood there.
Well, Oscar might have just been the savior of this round. Gonna see if they can try and make their way past the Denari lasers with a grenade. There's a lot of wanting the fight here from Oscar. And we talked about this position, how impactful it is, but look at the grid setup everywhere.
This is the util that FEARX didn't have.
Yes. With a minute and a 2 versus 2, you can see they're trying to double up, but Skeptic and Oscar, they're keeping themselves active. It's quick to get support to each other. There's a lot of chance at the read and the denial here. Plays themselves on towards the catch, goes for the Deimos break, worried about being peeked from the opposite side. The fire comes through, but as does the Deimos, though, gets hit by a bit of a stun, so they'll know he's been able to obviously cut the divide as well as the read on his ability. They have the crossfight in 40 seconds, looking for either potential and just gets another stun. Coated gets his 3rd for the round. Oscar, as I said, he might have been the one who could save this round, but he could be the only saving grace right now. Pulls himself back. Well played, wants to wait for the plant, the time of the engagement of a 1 versus 1, but crosses the divide and gets the down and gets himself out of there. They don't have the time for the pickup. They spot the angle. He almost gets the follow through on Coated. They pull back 15 seconds. And now it's another 2 versus 1 as Oscar dodged, dived, duck, dipped, and waited for the defuse. He times the run. He finds the pocket of space. He pushes and pushes and pushes and Rin. Gun up, swings a corner, but Oscar, your man, the man who I said joined this roster and changed its fate, proves that those stories can still be written.
Oh, and he doesn't even react. Holy aura from Oscar. Yeah, nonchalant as you like. Oh my.
Inside he's screaming.
What a 1v2.
Inside it's me screaming and you running around the room.
Oh, because I thought there was a moment where he allowed the revive, and I was like, okay, they know where he is. Surely they just, just pre-fire where he, and somehow he
played it brilliantly. Because his positioning as well, he put himself in a situation where they had to, if they pushed him, they had to push him at the same angle.
And whenever he got the down, he immediately runs. Don't allow the other player to get that trade. But that was big. And that's how you set the tone now for your half.
Honestly. Oh, devastated there from the side of Rin, but
that
couldn't have been closer.
It could have went either. That was seesaw, just back and forth, back and forth.
5 seconds to insertion.
Wow.
3 to 4. 3 to 4. This game is still cooking, and Heretics just get their first defense, and the word just does all the lifting there. We get our Echo with the more drones and the further utilization. We've obviously got the chance at Upor playing a bit of a distance on the Solus. They can keep themselves locked in, and with the Monty and with the utility game back on the other side, they should make pretty quick work of the wall outside. The combination of the Maverick and the Habana, it's not going to be the biggest, most devastating piece that it in some ways was. Obviously, when we saw Heretics approach, they did not get that wall open. The first thing is on towards Secret and the emergency exit. Get that open, get the pressure, and make sure that they can't try and loop their way up. As you can see, Woogieman, I think he's just going to try and make his way in towards Visa.
Yeah, really good position to send a Monty down is in through the secret tunnel. And Monty, it's kind of the that situation where you're always going to be pushing forward. You never have to worry about a flank or anything like that. It's all just going to come from one direction, which is fantastic. I mean, he should see that angle open.
Yeah,
he shouldn't fall.
You fell for it.
You fell for it.
You
Robbie.
fell for my ruse. Got caught out. I mean, it's also great premonition there, obviously, from FEARX. They knew what they wanted to cover, and they know the team that they're up against. And it's what was missing on Bank. We did not have any of that VOD review, and it showed so powerfully against FEARX's usual game. Here, they know what's going. They know
And I think
it.
it's the case. You know you're against Grubby. You know the player that he is, and you just think, he'll probably get him. Come on.
Yeah, he'll get him.
Like, Grubby straight away. Grubby didn't think, oh, they could be holding an angle from that. He thinks, I can see for that.
Yeah.
That's the way he thinks. It's what can benefit me rather than what benefits the enemy team.
You use the right bait for the right fish, and
There's a lot of bait
this
to work
could
for
be a
Grubby.
bit of bait. Flexi,
dear.
they might not know. Holding the position, gets one, leaves the monkey isolated. The Echo read him like a book, and the book, well, I don't think it's written in Korean. They're trying to get the lock in, but they're not overextending. You can see, look at
Shot
the
the
players
Echo.
on the back. They're trying to get the rotate. Flexi gets on towards one. It's covered
Not
and cross.
in full
Woogieman
magazine.
is down. Everybody's massively hurt, but if they can secure Woogieman, that's going to be the lock-in, and he's still got the tight angle. Oscar has the cover on Good Boy. And that leaves Rin alone, trying to do their best. And I mean, beautiful play from the back of the Echo drone. Pre-fires for the engagement, but at this point, Heretics could just leave, and it seems like they are.
Yeah, should be the lockout. I mean, 25 seconds, not a massive amount of time for Rin to play with. The Echo is still there, who was the real savior there just to disrupt that Monty. And he's going to try and work his way through, but yeah, just not going to happen for him. I mean, good patience. I think Heretics and the patience that they've had in a lot of these kind of dying moments, I think it's been great. Nobody's really tried to overextend. And it's rewarded them with a round win. But a missed drone.
A missed drone.
And a missed drone shouldn't be happening.
Because it's a Capitao as well.
It's just let the server
Clear that position in an instant.
Guys should, especially whenever the Monty's already in. If that player got droned, he's dead. He's trapped. He's not getting out of that position alive. And that's just what they missed, was just a simple drone.
The Echo, though.
The Echo was greatly timed. And did you notice as well, whenever that Echo stun came in, everyone was going for that Monty. They all doubled up. They believed in each other. They had that trust. I mean, this is the kind of siege. You have to make the play makes you.
You've said this phrase! If it's on your bingo, please tick that one off. It has been logged and locked in. 5-3. The round deficit once again finds itself stretched towards 2, and FEARX are on the wrong side of it. Now, they have obviously already used their timeout as well, so they can still only play the game that is ahead of them. And at this point, that momentum that Heretics have built up, we sort of said, you know, is 3 rounds enough? It's down to them to prove it, but that round, as you said, the way they impacted as a team, the way they sort of affected the map as a team was so well synergized, and was everything that was talked about in timeouts of yore of, we just need to stop giving them ones. At this point, let's see if they can try and just get another round into their favor, keep themselves off of map and eventual series point. How has he not got that? How has he only done what is like a breath of damage?
If that was me in rank, dead.
I would
Disgusting.
be fuming.
That's what I can't. Just forget that. What's the point? There's no
forget
point. There's no
about
point.
it.
They can't hear me. They can't have a go at him. What's the point?
Anyway, I mean, Skeptic lucky to survive with his life, let's be honest, but also Good Boy unlucky to not get that and then not get the follow through. They're getting some of the work done on the verticality. Flex is obviously sort of sat waiting for an approach here on towards Yellow Stairs, but they're still getting themselves on the top floor, external entirely, and waiting for this, the green light to swing in and not get instantly rebuffed. They know they like to be active. They know they like to put the pressure on, and they know that they could be bloody anywhere. And at this point right now, they're giving themselves a little bit further away. There's that new quick thorn gadget.
Quick, isn't it?
So quick, terrifying. And the position of that play, I mean, if it was slightly further in the corridor, could have been a bit of a different story. Still, dealing with utility. Heavy hurdles here, Demo.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try and challenge the top floor, but this is where Heretics want them. They've put a lot of their util operators upstairs. You think about the smoke who's going aggro, but eliminates the player in Spiral. 4v5 that FEARX have to battle from, and don't forget the top floor, it's not the bomb site.
No.
Even if they take above, then they have to start rotating in towards the mid floor, and by that stage, we know Heretics, they'll fall off. They're very good at dropping off from a roam game if they feel that's the right call.
At this point as well, they've pretty much used all of their utility. They've got a smoke, they've got an impact, but they've taken away 2 minutes, and they've taken rid of Deimos. So at the same sort of split, you look at what's in the pockets, 1 frag grenade. That's the drive. We've had a brawl. They've come out slightly worse for wear, but there's been no more of it.
Wow.
Boogeyman makes a friend with a shotgun, but he's just easy pickings whilst in that mine. Now as they're moving their way across, Groovy either side with the shotgun, it's an execution above, but it's still a 2 versus 3 because they couldn't quite get the full lockout here in 30 seconds. There's the drop on towards the Blackbeard. Oscar's out of there. He's not going to try and find out what happens when he meets a Blackbeard toe-to-toe and face-to-face. Instead, he's going to have a look at the piano and see if that's still playing the sweet tune of us on map and series points. The point being now, though, 15 seconds. They've got to try and find their way to filter down. It's going to be another hot hatch drop and seeing if they can find their way across, but they're still toying with them, Demo. They're putting them in towards the smoke and the play against it. One on the plant, one on the cover of every single possible angle. He secures that kill. This time round, he gets the double, but he gets caught out at the post-plant. No, it isn't! Groovy! Once upon a time on a Clubhouse, we had a lot of bullets pumped into an already dead body and a bit of an all chat, and this time Groovy gets his revenge. The man who has been to 2 SIs and never won a series is 1 round away from breaking that curse.
Oh, there was a moment where I thought, wow, they bottled that. Where he got the double, I mean, give credit to Good Boy on that. That was a great transition from 1 up the hatch to eliminate the Thorn, but the 3rd member comes in, and I think he just ran out of ammo. He maybe could have, I don't know, but he ran out of ammo, and then just in the nick of time, Grubby was able to get the kill onto the shield before he fully got that shield up. Wow, 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 wow. But overall, the round was really well played by Heretics. A little bit dodgy at the end, but the general gist of holding above, challenge FEARX, use a lot of the util above. You've seen the smoke upstairs, get good value from the toxic grenades, and then swiftly fall back once you have that man advantage. And they've done that, again, really, really well.
Just got
He is that coughing fit, isn't he? Wow, he didn't get checked out. I mean, this was fantastic. Look at this transition, but he just did not know about the other. And then, yeah, like I said, just about gets it before Code got his shield up. Wow.
I'm so good! I'm so good! I'm so good!
Groovy.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
6-3, Heretics. 1 round away, the T2 team that could keep going here. Obviously, this is so far away from the decider of everything, but we've already harped on and highlighted the importance of these 2 teams going against each other, and this potentially being the game that separates a team from stage 1 and stage 2. Remember, gang, only one of these teams will not progress into that 2nd stage before they have a chance at fighting for main stage. So, don't be that team, was the MO. Heretics, I mean, they are so close towards the first step of success. Is that in your book, your self-help book? More of your phrases?
The help is anyone can plant.
Anyone can plant.
That's the book name. And it's true, anyone can plant.
Changing back.
Oh, here we go. Match point. At the moment, the momentum, the morale, any word starting with M, it's with Heretics. However, the M that's not as Mephi, as he's able to pull off the opening pick. Oscar down, and that's a good operator to pick off very early on. We know that the Kiva barriers, they're regenerative over the course of the round, so Oscar's probably going to miss out, I think, at least 2 Kiva barriers there in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, what you doing? No, Flexi somehow gets coated, gets the Blackbeard, and gets out of there. Tragedy is struck in the office.
I feel as though this series, there's been so many missed opportunities for kills coming back in favor of teams.
It's crazy how often it's happened, but you know what? Flexi has been the man to make it happen twice over the past, what, 3 rounds when he was playing behind the pillar and caught out the Capitao as well. It just seems continual. It's almost this residual ability that he's kept on from the first map where Flexi was the man of the moment for Heretics in their darkest hour. Now he's just even more of a shining light with the rest of the team, lifting him up. They've lost Blackbeard. We've talked about shields for this team. Have they lost this series based on Flexi getting a sneaky one?
Look at the time. We're below a minute. And really, what have they done? What have the attackers gained control of? What, admin? Is that it? They haven't even pushed in towards vending? They haven't even got themselves set up for a plant yet? I mean, this is gonna cut it really, really close. And there's still smokes. There's still a C4 from Grubby as well that can be used.
They're trying to get their way up Spiral. Rin's gone for the hop-in, but they're still holding it aggressively, looking for the fight. Grubby gets one as Rin balances us out, pre-fires, but Heretics aren't giving them any ground, any counter. Grubby takes the next bit of damage, but still, once again, gets away. That's the important part. No C4, one smoked, and one more body down. Woogieman, though, is able to win out the engagement and take a lot of damage. They're not stopping to get good boy up currently. They need to do something as a 3 versus 2. There's the pickup. There's the what to the name of for Skeptic! Somehow threads the needle through 7 haystacks and finds the result on the end. 5 seconds ticking with the ominous of we are falling apart. Going for the plant. Good boy watching on the cover, has the cross, has the angle, doesn't have the kill, but what they do have is a loss. And what Heretics have, what Groovy has, what these players who didn't have hope before have, is a win on the grandest stage of the game they've given us so much to over the years. Heretics win their first series.